All right. Hello, everybody. So happy to be back with Pop Culture Curator here with our weekly horror sci-fi stream. I'm excited. We have our wonderful panel here. We have Nemesis of Eden and Scogli. And I know I'm running a little late, which I apologize. If you're watching this on the rerun, I hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. Please consider clicking the like button, maybe subbing to my channel, and hit the alert notifications. I deeply apologize for last week. I was really busy with work, so we weren't able to do the weekly stream then, but I guarantee you we'll get caught up. And if there's any confusion, I have a poll that I put up to let people vote on movies, and I know most people voted for Killer Clowns from Outer Space for this week, but then I had foolishly forgotten that Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game, is coming out later this year. So one of the wonderful subs here on the channel reminded me, say, hey, the game's coming out. Maybe we should do the stream then. You'll get more attention, more clicks, more people interested. And I thought that's a great idea. So yeah, shout out to you. I'm not going to embarrass you unless you want me to. But yeah, so I chose the next most popular vote, and that seems to be Todd Browning's movie Freaks from 1932. It's the movie was originally about a little over 90 minutes long. Unfortunately, the studio cut a whole bunch out. There was one original screenings at one theater that was uncut, and they knew the night that it premiered, they knew it was being cut. They even advertised on the titles, and they had signs in the lobby, and they told the audience that you are the only ones that will be seeing the uncut version. And
it's what a shame, eh? Oh man.
I know, and unfortunately, all those cut scenes are presumed lost.
I feel worse about this one than I do of Event Horizon. Holy smokes.
Well, the ultimate is London After Midnight. That's one of the ones we're hoping they'll dig up. But all we can do is hope that somebody out there maybe got their hands on an original copy. Maybe someday it'll surface before I kick the bucket. I hope to see it. A lot
that
of history
would be
behind this
amazing.
movie.
What a find. Nosferatu was dead in the water for decades.
Yes, you're totally right about that. I wanted to mention here, production chief Irving Thalberg decided to recut the picture immediately after the disastrous test screening. He could not cancel the world premiere on January 28th, 1932 at the 3,000-seat Fox Theater in San Diego, California. This is the only venue at which the uncut version of Freaks is known to have played. Ironically, the unexpurgated Freaks was a major box office success. Crowds lined up around the block to see the picture, which broke theaters' house records. By the end of the run, word had spread that Freaks was about to be butchered, and the theater advertised, your last opportunity to see Freaks in its uncensored form. So it's a shame because now the movie is barely a little over an hour, I believe.
Yeah, it's an hour and 4 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. And they really, Todd Browning, for those of you who don't know, the director was the same director who worked on, he worked with Universal, and he had done Dracula with Bela Lugosi, and among a few other things. And this really hurt his career. They made it look like he was exploiting Freaks when in reality he wasn't. Some of that excised footage was actually footage to show a more humanizing level for the sideshow performers. But a lot of those were excised, and now it seems to be more disjointed. It makes them look more like freaks, unfortunately.
That's really too bad.
Yes, exactly. One studio head, Louis B. Mayer at MGM, saw the sideshow entertainers whom Browning had cast. He was horrified and tried to have the picture shut down. And it took all of Irving Thalberg's persuasive skills to keep it going. The film was rejected for the UK cinema showing in 1932 and again in 1952. It was finally passed for cinema with an uncut X rating in May of 1963, making it one of the longest bans in UK film history.
An uncut X rating. Wow. So how times have changed.
Yeah, it is because Well, I read a few books by P.T. Barnum from Barnum and Bailey Circus. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. And he used to have um, museums and shows where he had sideshow performers. Me personally, I don't call them freaks. Freak is a derogatory term that the audience used upon viewing them. But what they were sideshow performers.
They were the talent.
Right. Yes, the talents. And when the public, the thing is normally when people are born, and this goes back hundreds of years. Normally, when people were born with birth defects, they're usually shunned, and they usually die in poverty or at a very early age. They're treated badly. They're treated poorly. They're tortured. A lot of them are outcast from their families. And P.T. Barnum realized that by bringing them in, that actually gave them all the opportunity to actually have working careers, jobs, and make money. So a lot of them were actually very, very thankful to P.T. Barnum for giving them that opportunity. But it was the public's perception that always cast a dark eye on them, saying, "Oh, they're just being exploited. They're freaks. They're all these horrible things." And that's what seemed to be persuasive over the years, unfortunately. But that's
They're
why it's
finally able to make a decent life and have like a shred of respect.
That's exactly what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
And he actually, I mean, yes, he was a businessman and it was in for the business. He was in it for the money, but he did actually care. His museums went through a few devastating fires where some of them were killed, and it was really, really sad. And it really broke him up. And it took him a while to rebuild and put things back together, but he did it every time. If any of you ever get a chance, I highly recommend the autobiography by P.T. Barnum and also The Art of Money Getting. So he wrote a couple books about how he put everything together and his life and time with museums and all the different Tom Thumb and the performers that he had, the yin and yang and all that, which we'll kind of cover that lightly here. When I was in the Air Force in 1980, it was about 1984, 5, 6, somewhere around there. I did see a small carnival in California that actually had a sideshow with sideshow performers. They had the lady that was like alligator skin. They had the sword swallower, man with two heads, a bearded lady, and a few things like that. And I felt very, very lucky to see that because you won't see that anymore. But obviously by now, all those have been banned, and all those types of people born with birth defects are back to being shunned or outcasts.
Yeah, back into the little group, back to the group home for you, sir.
Right. It's really sad because, they talk about minorities and representation, but I don't see people with birth defects being treated fairly.
It's like when Peter Dinklage got all those dwarfs fired from the loose, what do you call it, Snow White project.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly what it was. In fact, he pretty much used the hype against them. And for his stupidity and selfishness, he pretty much made them all unemployed. And this was originally based on a book called Spurs. And it was supposed to star the original Lon Chaney Sr., but unfortunately, he's a chain smoker. He died before the movie was produced, so that's the reason why he's not in it.
I'll do it.
Yeah, the bird costume we see towards the end was actually designed for him to wear. Todd Browning, the director, his career never recovered from the release of this. So from then on, they put him on a very tight creative leash. Of his subsequent films, only The Devil Doll, which in 1936 has some of the spirit of his earlier work, but it is marred by a compromised script and a weak ending. Browning retired in 1939 and spent the rest of his life in seclusion. After the film had been withdrawn and shelved by MGM, the distribution rights were acquired by notorious exploitation roadshow specialist Dwayne Esper. Esper traveled the country showing the film under such lurid titles as Forbidden Love and Nature's Mistakes. And of course, the film's premiere in Chicago and Los Angeles were miserable failures. No exhibitor in San Francisco would show it, and it was banned in many areas. By contrast, it was a big hit in Cincinnati, Boston, Cleveland, Houston, and Omaha. So at least those people know, quality when they see it, I guess you could say. And I wanted to say before I sorry, getting ahead of myself here. Like I said, hello, Nemesis of Eden. Hello, Skogly. And always, I want to pay attention to the chat, and I want to try to bring up every mention here. It looks like Nemesis of Eden was the first one in here. This is where I was apologizing for being late. And we have the wonderful Gorillas Random Thoughts saying, hey, ever. I think he means everyone. And I could probably get an uncut version. Gorillas Random Thoughts, if you can find an uncut version, you would be a rich man, I assure you. And Gorillas Random Thoughts, can we do the black stork? I'm not sure. Do you guys understand what that means? I'm not sure what that means.
I know of the black swan, but I don't know of the black stork.
And Gorillas Random Thoughts says, Sword Swallower today has a whole new meaning. And Gorillas Random Thoughts says, lady with a beard is no longer a freak. Yeah. Now they walk around like that in the Bay Area all the time.
It's probably just one of those simple jokes where I keep referring to Mr. Spock as Mr. Spork just to be a doofus.
Well, another thing which is interesting is back then when you had, they actually had a sideshow performer called the Fat Lady because it was so rare to see a woman that was grotesquely obese. And now they're so common. You see them everywhere, right? There's Oprah.
Jesus.
Now, right? So yeah, that's the only sideshow.
They're on the cover. They're on the cover of Victoria's Secret now.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of control.
Right? So not only is it normalized now, but it seems to be promoted that it's a healthy lifestyle, which is a shame. Because
they're all going to die out eventually, pretty quick, if they're promoting that as a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Even sooner if they're promoting that as a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Do you remember, Pops, the show called Guinea Pig on Discovery Channel?
No, I don't.
Okay, it was this dude who did all this crazy shit. So the closest I've come to a sideshow was he was in Calgary, and he was just doing crazy stuff. I remember he started up an actual chainsaw and had it running full tilt and held it in his mouth by the blade with the blade spinning in his mouth and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah. I was filming it. I was like, oh, well, if this slips, it's going to make a heck of a video.
Wow, that's intense. Oh, man.
Dude, I was shocked because they let us feel it afterwards. They're like, yeah, it's a real chainsaw. And you're just like, oh, God.
Yeah, they usually pass it around the audience to let everybody examine, which is part of the act. Yeah. And
hi, Olga, Greg.
Let me pull this up. What Gorilla's talking about. There it is. Okay, let me highlight this here because I'm looking it up now. Gorillas Random Thoughts says the Black Stork was a 1922 movie that was considered to be so horrendous that every copy was destroyed and only 2 copies survived. One is in North Carolina University and the other in Blaze Media Museum. And I'm looking it up now. I see a Black Stork from 1917. And I don't know if this is the same one. Let me check the year that Gorillas Random Thoughts was mentioning. All right, a Black Stork, 1922. All I can find, unless he means there's a foreign thing called Der Stern. Maybe that's what he means, or it could be the Black Stork. But Gorilla, if you can find any copies of that to cover, I would be very, very interested. I love rare and hard to find movies. And Ola Gray says, hi, everyone. Hello, Ola Gray. Glad you could join us. Gorillas Random Thoughts says, hey, Euler. And hail, Captain Finity. Glad you can make it. Ernesto on the Phantasmagorium just chastised me for asking a canonical question. So I came here. Hi, guys. Well, sorry to hear that, Captain. That's not rare. That's not nice of them to do that to people in the chat. Gorillas Random Thoughts might have been 1917. I think it was. And Ola Greg says, a strange movie. Ola Greg says, cheers, Captain. And Nemesis of Eden says, hail to everybody. Glad to have you here, Captain Finity, says Nemesis of Eden.
Well, glad to have everyone here.
Yeah, it's great. It looks like it's going to be a great turnout. It's a short movie, but we got a lot of history behind it. And once again, I encourage everybody to share their stories, their insights, or their experiences with this movie. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, how late you work tomorrow? I'm guessing you mean to me. And Gorilla, I'll be ready by 9 p.m. your time for Gilligan's Island. If you need to change that, let me know. And Gorillas Roundabout says, "Hey, Captain." All right, here now. Let me get our screen ready so we can get going. Hopefully, everything's queued up. Hopefully, I got the subtitles turned on, which I believe I do. I've got to be very, very, very careful. I don't think I'm going to be able to show any clips from this movie because if you guys remember, our last stream was Creep Show, and I got a straight up copyright strike on that. Even though I only showed small clips, it wasn't a warning. It was a straight up red copyright strike. So it's not even on my channel. If you guys go look, you won't even find it. So I've got to be very careful. I guess no clips, and it's too bad because because I kept them all very short, but I guess it doesn't matter to them. Okay, so does anybody have anything to add before we get started with the movie?
I certainly don't. I'm ready to get into it.
All right.
Yeah, let's rock.
I hope everybody had a chance to watch it at some point. That way, tonight's presentation will make some sense. I don't want to ruin it for you. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. I believe it's available on YouTube for purchase. But if you can get a hard copy, I recommend that even more, obviously. So here we are with MGM, opening with the famous lion. Oh, by the way, did you guys hear that is it David Gilmour? No, Roger Waters is going to re-record Dark Side of the Moon, but without Pink Floyd.
That's terrible.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
I can't believe him. Jesus, that pisses me off a lot.
Right, and his reasoning, he said, well, because the public never really understood what it was about. I'm like, what? Are you talking about like the number 1 or 2 album in the history? And nobody ever understood it? Okay.
That's right. It's because it's so popular that no one clearly understands it.
All right. And he's going to explain it. Now it'll be more popular, won't it? Now he'll deconstruct it.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so here we are with our opening title. And as you can see, suggested by Todd Rubin's story, Spurs. And I tried to get a pretty good copy. This should be 1080p. And here we have with the Carnival Barker is what they were called. That would be the people standing there luring people in, getting them to give them their tickets and their money. I told you we had living, breathing monstrosities. You laughed at them. You shuddered at them. And yet, but for the accident of birth, they did not ask to be brought into the world. By the way, if you guys have, I'm sure, seen The Elephant Man, right?
Well, I know of The Elephant Man. I don't think I've ever seen a movie called The Elephant Man.
Okay, well, then we definitely are going to cover that on this stream because, yes, the movie is fantastic. Directed by David Lynch, I'll put it that way.
Oh, interesting.
It's a fantastic movie, and it's based on a true story, obviously, of John Merrick, a man with a gigantitis or something like that, I believe it was called. And the movie is very, very, very good. It was directed by David Lynch and produced by Mel Brooks. And here he is talking to the audience. You always rile them up with mystery. You make them want to go in and pay. And now, folks, if you'll just step this way, you're about to witness the most amazing, astounding, living monstrosity of all time. Here's where we get our little kind of preview for the ending of the movie. What's interesting is the way this movie is shot. It reminds me almost like an episode of Twilight Zone. Because you have the good guys, you have the bad guys. The bad guys do something bad, and they get their comeuppance at the end. She was once a beautiful woman. Royal Prince shot himself for love of her. She was known as the Peacock of the Air, and now we tell the story of Cleopatra. By the way, I want to clarify these two right here. In fact, the one on the left, I got so many screens open. And the actor on the left was a very famous actor. He did a lot of movies at the time. And of course, he was also in Wizard of Oz. But he also played in a movie called Over the Rainbow. No, I'm sorry. The Terror of Tiny Town. It was a Western movie that starred all little people. I'm not going to say midgets. So I'll say little
What?
people. I don't mean any offense to people that are of short stature.
Oh, definitely not. No, but that sounds amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this movie. The terrible. You got
The Terror of Tiny Town.
The Terror of Tiny Town. Oh, it's a tongue twister. Cool. Yeah, definitely checking it out.
Yeah, so it's a western shot on a real set, but it stars all little people. So the couple you see in this still here, they play a husband and wife. It's Harry Earls and Daisy Earls. And they're playing a husband and wife because they wanted two people that were the exact same size. But you will not see a lot of affection between the two because in real life it's actually brother and sister.
Yeah, he's about 30 years old, and she's 5 years younger than him. He was born in 1902, and she was born in 1907. The movie was released in 1932, so he's 29 probably.
Yeah, there's a strong resemblance between the two. You can, like, when you look at it, when somebody says, "Well, that's brother and sister," you can tell. So
Oh,
that's why
definitely. There's parts even later where he's like, "Oh, I love you," and blah blah blah, and like you can see in her eyes, it's just so awkward for her, and you're just like, "Oh dear."
Yeah, I
He
know.
lived to the ripe old age of 85 years old.
Yeah, a
Good
lot
for
of them
him.
did. A lot of them did. Oh, she is magnificent, isn't she, Hans? And of course, he's admiring Cleopatra up on the high wire. But he assures her that he still loves her, which is his wife. Even though he may admire Cleopatra from afar, he still is more in love with Frida, according to him. Now we are introduced to Hercules, a circus strongman. By the way, I have another recommendation if you guys have not seen or heard of it. Have any of you guys heard the movie that takes place around a circus called Nightmare Alley?
No.
Okay, the original starred Tyrone Power. It was in the 30s or the 40s, I believe, and Guillermo del Toro did a remake just last year. I highly recommend it. It's in
Which
the vein
one?
of Freaks. Both, if you can. But if you can at least see
Okay.
the new one, go for it. But I recommended it to Yitzy Lemons on YouTube, and I told him watch the original first and then watch the remake because they're both good movies in their own right, and he did, and he enjoyed it. And they are available. So it's called Nightmare Alley if you get a chance to watch it.
Good to know. Okay, thanks, Pops.
And we have the performers. And she knows that her husband is obviously eyeing Cleopatra. Of course, she's sucking it all up. She's laughing pretty much. He doesn't quite realize how much she's laughing at him. But Frida knows.
Oh, that headband. It's just so 1920s.
Oh, yes, definitely roaring 20s.
Right. I love the aesthetic of it. Like, and you can tell it's well, like, for the most part, and Scogli pointed something out, which I'm sure he'll touch on later at the end of the film. But for the most part, it's beautifully shot.
Yes, it is. You can tell it's definitely professionally done. In the hands of definitely a capable director. Cinematographer, the lighting, everything is very, very nice. So here we have these two men walking through the park. But Monsieur Duval, at first I cannot believe my own eyes, he says. A lot of horrible, twisted things, crawling, whining, laughing. Be done, Jean. What were you drinking last night? Nothing, monsieur, I assure you. And here we have our first glimpse of the sideshow performers. And of course, we have a man who's full of hate and fear, so he says nothing but bad things about them. If there's anything like you say on my grounds, we'll have it removed. So basically, he's reporting this to the landowner. And here's where they see them. And all they're doing is enjoying themselves, having fun. And the man with no legs.
But like to their defense, can you imagine just like walking through the woods and then just like looking over to your left and seeing this reverie?
Right.
I'd,
If you had
I'd be
never
thinking
seen,
of that.
if you had never seen anything like it, and you were not aware of it, yes, I guess you would be highly surprised. So there we see the face of the bird woman. They call the bird woman. Now, up close to the camera there in the foreground is Schlitzie. Do you guys know the history of Schlitzie?
I do not.
Okay,
I'm very familiar with the image and the picture, but I really don't know anything about him.
right. It is a famous image, and Schlitzie lived to a relatively old age. Schlitzie was a man, but they passed him off as a woman because he was incontinent. He had to wear a diaper under the dress. They called them pinheads. They were highly mentally. I got to be very careful. Mentally handicapped.
Challenged.
Yeah,
Oh.
very mentally challenged. Basically, the mind of a child.
Yeah.
And a certain beer company actually purchased him and named him Schlitzie. I guess I'm sure you guys can guess which company. So he was actually a product owned by a beer company, and they sent him around as advertisement for their beer products, which was really
Oh my
sad.
word.
That's crazy. I didn't what? And I mean, it's obviously Schlitz, but geez, that's wow.
Right.
Holy fuck.
Right. So that's why,
Let's see. Holy man.
yep, that's what Schlitzie's named after. Unfortunately, is beer.
Uh,
Um, here we go, and they're still dancing. Hopefully, I don't want to get any strikes. And here's where they see the two men looking at them, and of course, she says, "Go away, all of you. Don't you know trespassing is the same as stealing?" They say, "I'm sorry, Monsieur. I am Madame Tetralini." And as you can see, she protects them like a mother. These children are in my circus, she says. There's Schlitzie. So you see, Monsieur, when I get a chance, I like to take them into the sunshine. And the amazing Prince Randy. Now, as you guys can tell, obviously, Prince Randy had no arms or legs. But are you ready for this? He had a son, and his son would carry him around on the set of this movie in between takes.
He strikes that match and lights his cigarette.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that was awesome. I was
Yeah.
thoroughly impressed. I was just like, whoa.
And I could have
It
sworn
might be my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, I was
I don't
reading,
know.
yeah,
Spoilers. We'll get into it later.
Yeah, we'll point it out when we get to that scene. But yeah, I was reading that they cut out the scene where he rolled the cigarette and then lit it. But I was thinking, I could have sworn I saw at some point years ago where they showed the whole scene with him rolling it, but I guess not. That was a bit in my imagination. So all we see in this cut is him just already has the cigarette and he lights it. I don't know why they would cut that out. Maybe they thought it was
Yeah, I was
boring.
thinking that too because I couldn't imagine him just not being able to have bloody well learned how to roll it too. I just couldn't imagine how that not being it, and it just wasn't there. I was like, huh. I just intuitively knew that he rolled that himself.
I know, and of course, if he's able to, they were going to take advantage of that and show that. But that went on the chopping block.
Maybe it was growth.
And
Maybe
here's
it
what
took
we
a
have.
long
growth.
It takes like 10 minutes to roll the cigarette, maybe. Who knows?
Well, there's in the notes here. They said halfway through this movie, the audience, a bunch of them were literally getting up and running out. They weren't walking out; they were running out. So maybe they were trying to lower the shock value.
I don't know. People were weaker back then.
Or they
Bunch of
were.
pansies.
Well, now too. Think about it. The way everybody chooses to get offended by everything, they wouldn't last 30 seconds in this movie.
No. It's
Yeah, of course, and it's very telling. San Francisco was one of the cities that banned it, right? The city of Karens, the end of freedom of speech. So here we have Madame Tetralini saying, "Please forget what was said." Or this is the landlord saying, "Please forget what was said, Madame. You are welcome to remain." So the landlord was a very nice man with a heart, and he tells him, "Au revoir, come, Jean," and they may continue playing. So she's very thanks a thousand, Monsieur. 1,000 things.
yeah. The dude on the left, you could just see the hatred in his eyes. Meanwhile, the guy on the right, when it was the picture of those two, who was the landowner, you could you could tell was a nice guy, and the other dude was just like, ugh, very uncomfortable.
Just like people now, that they attack things they don't understand with hate. I have not told you here that God looks after all his children. I'm glad they left some of the humanizing scenes still in it. And here we are back at the circus, and we get our first glimpse of some of the performers.
Hey, Lemon. Always a pleasure.
Hail Lemon Pie, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And here we have the half man, half woman. Oh, I'm sure that would be very, very politically correct these days, right? Just as they are represented on the banners, living, breathing monstrosities, the two guys say. Of course, they're making fun of him, her as they walk up. So this is way before, decades before pronouns. This person here is identified as him, her, he, she. Not either or, but both. So Joseph and Josephine. Don't get her sore, or he'll bust you in the nose. And of course, we have putting the seal in its cage. And the beautiful Olga. Oh, not Olga. Let me see. Da, 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 da. No, it's not Cleopatra. Da, 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 da. Oh, well, I'll get the name straight. Yeah, that's not Olga, is it? Or Cleopatra? Oh,
No, it's neither.
oh, the Venus. Duh. Okay,
That's
Venus.
it.
She's the good guy, right? And here you have the man who stutters, or the clown, talking to Hercules.
Which is funny because he doesn't look very big for a strong man. He just
No, he
looks
doesn't.
tall.
Right, compared to these days where people really work out, right? But back then, working out was a rarity. I
Yeah,
remember
if I seen that Hercules or a strong man, I'd want my money back. I'd be like, that
Dude,
guy's a
right?
pussy.
I'm
My
sure
cousin will kick his ass.
a lot of the things he lifted were probably hollow and stage items. Those flowers you sent to me, they were beautiful. Not much beautiful as you, he says. Thank you. See, it's not right. He's cheating on his wife Frida with her, but she's just taking advantage of it. There she is asking for money.
But it's yeah, it's I don't that's a very bizarre relationship because he's like they're married, him and Frida are married, but yeah, he's just like openly doing this with this other lady, and it's like okay, but I don't know, like we can talk about how things were back in the day later on, I guess. It's just
Yeah, women are more independent now. Frida wouldn't put up with it. I'm pretty much guessing. She would immediately say, "You want her? Go after her. I'll divorce you. And by the way, I'm going to take that fortune that you have. It's called alimony." Yeah, things have definitely changed. And there's her with her sleazy boyfriend, Hercules, conniving. Come, little girl, I want to take care of you. And of course, he's making fun of them. And I fell for that, she says. Or you're quitting. Maybe
man,
I'm
that
only
outfit
fooling.
really. Oh, sorry, Hercules' outfit makes me think of Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
By the way, when Harry Houdini was very buff, he worked out. He was very muscular. That was the only way he could get out of a lot of those bindings and gags that he was in, and skate boxes and all that. So people used to stare at him like a freak because he was so muscular. They were not used to seeing that back in those days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
just
right.
flexed
Flexing
his
those
muscles up so much while they tied him up, and then when it was time to escape, he just relaxed.
Just
And then,
relax, right? And everything
yeah.
almost practically fell off his body. And don't you come around crying tonight. Tonight, trying to get back in, he says. I'm through wasting my time and money. Yes, your time, but my money, she says. Well, it's actually Hans's money. And of course, it shows how much he loves her. Ungrateful little tramp. Did you ever see a lady move before? I guess you've been listening to every word he said. Go ahead and laugh. It's funny, ain't it? And of course, she's assuming everyone's laughing at her, but she's the one making a fool of herself. And he follows her back to her trailer. Now they're talking. Now you listen to me. I didn't mean you. I had to take it out on somebody. Yeah, you dames are all alike. Yeah, I guess you can't say dames anymore. You're sharpshooter. You're cheap. How you squeal when you get what's coming to you. Easy kid, cut it. They say it's my own fault. So here she is, just wanting attention, which nothing has changed in that department. Is that I fell for that big hunk of beef? So you finally got wise to yourself, did you? The funny thing about you women is most of you don't get wise soon enough.
Well, this is Venus, right? This isn't what's her face.
I
This isn't Cleopatra. This is Venus.
Oh, 'cause I thought wasn't it Cleopatra that had the glitter on her shorts? But they look so similar. I feel terrible getting them mixed up.
Right?
But
Yeah,
I
no,
think you're right. I think this is Venus, right? Because Venus is actually very sweet.
yeah, and
I
she was like
struggled on
hooking
my
up with
watch
the
too with
douchebag.
that.
So maybe what's going on is
She
maybe
broke.
Hercules is going around romancing all the women, right?
That's it. Hercules was the douchebag, and he was. Those two were a couple, and now she's broken up with him, and she's going to talk to this guy.
Right. And he's even telling her, you're not so hard to look at. Give yourself a tumble, you'll make the grade, he says. Your breaks is coming, gone, you mean. Now you'll sit there feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah, this is definitely Venus. No, I ain't. Don't you ever accuse me of that, she says. He's just being nice. For one thing, don't go out filling your hide with booze, celebrating. It's fun with good that way, never do no one no good. Sorry for the broken English, but that's how it's written.
That's how they talk back then, though.
It is. Well, plus some of them, like when it shows Hans and Frida talking, it's broken English because they're supposed to be German. So you'll see a little bit of mispronunciation there.
Well, because yeah, Hans and Frida are German. I feel like Cleopatra and Hercules are like Romanian or something.
Yeah, something like that. You can tell the accent, you can hear it.
Yeah.
And you can tell what's going on here is he's actually fond of Venus, but I mean we all know the story is women don't want to. She's probably holding her heart out for somebody not in the circus. She's probably thinking some man's gonna come along and swoop her up and take her away from
Well,
all that.
she was just with douchebag. She literally just broke up with him. This guy's been pining for her the whole time.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't think she's interested. I think, well, not only is she upset because of what happened with Hercules, but it's really hard to describe this because it is so similar to Nightmare Alley. There's characters in Nightmare Alley that are very similar to what we're talking about right now. But Nightmare Alley, of course, came out later.
20 slang is different, Euler Greg.
And we have
And here are the twins, which fantastic. I love this. Like it's what a weird dynamic too, just to think about.
Yep. And these days we have the technology to separate them. Because people are still born conjoined. You guys have heard of the famous twins Yang and Yang, right?
Yeah.
They are the two Chinese guys. They actually have both had separate wives and children.
Aren't those the reason? Those guys are the reason they're called Siamese twins, right? Because they were from Siam.
Well, no, that was a label that P.T. Barnum gave them. He always gave them exotic names from far away. So yeah, they were actually Chinese, but he said Siam because it sounded good.
Oh, okay.
But a word of
right. Not all conjoined can be separated, which is correct. There's a lot, like there's some at the head that can't be separated.
Right, like they share internal organs. Right,
yeah,
internal organs.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're sharing. Which reminds me, we'll be covering a movie called Basket Case here eventually.
Awesome! I'm very glad about that.
Right, which it's sort of, as you know, deals with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'll get caught up on the chat really quick. Captain Infinity says, "Hail, Gorilla and panel. Glad to be here." Well, we're glad to have you here, Captain. It's an honor.
Cheers, Captain Infinity.
Olga Greg says, "Thumbs up, please, people." Thank you, Olga Greg. Yeah, if you're enjoying what you see, please hit the thumbs up button. Olga Greg says, "Hopefully a copyright claim and not a strike pop." I don't think it's a
Sounds
strike.
it's a block. It's a
Yeah.
worldwide block. It's not a
Yeah,
strike.
that's what it says. It said your video is not going to be seen by anybody, pretty much.
Yeah,
So I guess I'm going to go ahead and take
they're
it
what
down.
Rick Beato calls blockers.
Yeah, but it
Some
basically
people
says
aren't. You can get away with more with some companies, but other companies are straight up blockers.
right, and it says
Right.
that if there's any money to be had, it's going to be the studio that owns Creep Show. So I'm just going to pull the video, unfortunately. But it was
That's too
worth
bad.
it because it was a good time. I had fun when we
Oh, it was a
covered it.
blast.
Yeah, it was a good time. It really was.
I'll just make sure to be very, very careful in the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lemon Pie, greetings all, and Gorilla Pop. Let's take care of that copyright tomorrow. If the stream doesn't go too late, could do it tonight. All right, Gorilla. If it doesn't go too late, but I know you're 2 hours ahead of us, so if it does, I mean, maybe we can talk about it before or after Gilligan's Island tomorrow. So that's fine. No hurry. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate that, Gorilla. Olga Greg, the psychological underpinnings of the people who attended freak shows are more frightening than the freaks themselves. You're right about that. Unfortunately. And of course, in this society, nothing's changed there either. Gorilla's Random Thought says, hey, Lemon. Lemon Pie says, Gorilla. And Ola Greg, Elephant Man is a must-see movie. Yes, Ola Greg, I totally agree, and we will be covering that. I'm a big fan of David Lynch. One of these days, maybe we'll try to struggle to get through Eraserhead on the stream if that's possible.
Oh God.
And I know exactly. Oh God. Ola Greg says it's a powerful, true story that is well written and acted. Yes, it got John Hurt his Academy Award.
We might have to break Eraserhead up into live shorts.
Yeah, because there's only so much your mind can handle in chunks, right? Nemzabine says, Hail Lemon. Ola Greg says 20 sling is different. Yes, it absolutely is. Gorilla's Random Thought says, not all can join. Yeah, can be separate. Yeah, totally correct, Gorilla. Hey, Nemesis, it says Lemon Pie. And I only got half a day tomorrow, so I can stay up a bit later. Okay, well, that's good, Gorilla. If you don't get tired. So we'll try to get through this relatively quickly. And briefly, okay, let's see. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing. In the United States, this film was banned in a number of states and cities. Although no longer enforced, some of the laws were never officially repealed. Therefore, it is still technically illegal for this film to be shown in some areas of the United States.
Breaking the law. That's very silly, but whatever.
Yeah, I know, right? So here we are with the conjoined twins talking. Obviously, literally twins, identical. Roscoe's a good kid. She'll look him lots after she knows better. That reminds me. And this is interesting. You guys see where he pinches one girl on the shoulder and the other one can feel it. Right there.
Well, that shows up later too when like the one girl starts like kissing the dude and the other girl is like getting off.
Right. Whoa. Swooning, yes.
So it's fascinating. I wonder if that's how it is in real life.
Well, it is. In fact, the two gentlemen I mentioned, Yin and Yang,
yeah,
they lived many, many years and they died in their 80s. And what's interesting is when one died, they were laying in bed and one died. And it was within just a matter of minutes the other one died because of the fact that they were conjoined. They were not able to live separately. So that had to be horrible. Can you imagine your conjoined twin dying right next to you, knowing that now after that you've only got minutes to live?
Scary stuff.
Come on, you'll have to hurry. We haven't much time, they say. And of course,
I like that. I like that thing he does with the Siamese twins there. He's like, close your eyes, don't close them, and then he touches the other girl, he pinches the other girl's arm, and she can feel it, right? I'm like, ooh. And the implications of that are spicy, because they're talking about like, oh, she'll like him when she gets to know him a little bit better, and then he demonstrates that she can feel her body.
Yes. And what's funny is he's in love with one of the sisters and the other one doesn't like him. So that's going to be a really fun dynamic going on there, right? Or she's just teasing. No, you don't. She's going to stay right here. Of course, he wants one to stay there and they can't because they've got somewhere to go. So both have to go. And then you're always using that for an alibi. Of course, we didn't get the punchline, but he tried to say excuse and he couldn't pronounce it, so he says alibi. Myriad, that's definitely yeah, Cleopatra. Yes, I have seen you. You've got to be caught. So yeah, of course. And of course, she's inviting him in her trailer. That is fine. He's offering him a drink, feel like eating something, and she says okay. By the way, I want to mention cast member Olga Roderick, the bearded lady, later denounced the film and regretted her involvement in it. Although she was the most vocal in her dislike of the movie, many of the quote freaks expressed their disdain. Only Johnny X seems to have praised the film throughout his life. And by the way, another word of note is this was being, as you guys know, it's the MGM production, and the movie was being filmed on the MGM lot. So the actors, the performers, I got a pop here. Let me open this up. Nims David, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello,
Sorry,
hello. Oh, no problem. But yeah, this was filmed on the MGM lot. So in between takes, the performers would go to the MGM commissary to eat lunch or dinner. And unfortunately, the movie stars in the commissary shunned them, made fun of them, and demanded that they be removed. They said it made them sick and it revolted them to look at the performers. So they had to set up a tent outside the commissary for the performers to eat at, which I think is terrible.
That is fun now. Typical Hollywood.
Typical
Yeah,
Hollywood, right?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing
No.
has changed.
Oh,
No,
if
no,
anything, it's worse now.
yeah. The only thing that's changed now is now they would call the police, and they demand the manager, right? Lemon Pie says, "Is Rick James the soundtrack for this movie?" No, thank goodness no. Gorillas Round Thought says, "Hell, Heel, I didn't do anything today except sort and fold our polish racks. Very cool." Strangled Strain, good to see you. Hi, I want to offer promotion for your channel viewers. Yeah, we got some spam bots going on there. And that's the spam it looks like from Twitch. Lemon Pie, a-hole actors. Yes, absolutely. You're right about that. That's the problem is that, those people were treated horribly. But the people treating them horribly, as usual, are pointing fingers at everybody else saying that they're treating them horribly. But oh well. You're strong. You're squeezing me to death. And you'll like it, he says. Oop, looks like they got somebody spying on them. And Josephine knows that he was just with Venus. Now here's something. Now this is terrible. He punches Joseph. And of course she laughs about it. She's sadistic. And
yeah, that made me really mad.
I know it's not cool, and especially because Joseph and Josephine are really rather tiny compared to him. But Hans, my Liebchen, you have not been listening. Of course, you're going to see a lot of German words in here. You've not been listening to me. Yes, I have, Frida. I have, he says. Of course, he's not telling the truth. Then what was I saying? Oh, the last thing you want to ask. You were saying, what were you saying? I was saying tonight, you must not smoke such a big cigar. Your voice was very bad at tonight's show. When I want a cigar, I'll smoke a cigar, he said. I want no orders from a woman. This is the first time since we have been engaged you have spoken to me so, she said. Why is that?
Oh, so they're not married, they're engaged.
Oh, that's right, yes. Here's our coffee. There it is. Even they got tiny cups. 5 lumps of sugar in each. What? 5 lumps? And here we are
No
back
coffee was harmed in the making of that beverage.
Right. That's a lot of sugar, even for a regular sized person. But I don't, not being a coffee lover, I don't like the taste. So I would probably say give me 10 lumps of sugar, anything to drown out the taste.
That's fair.
Yes, Paris, we're doing very well. Each time I tell him I like champagne. So she's saying that she wants to get Hans to buy her champagne, of course.
Have you ever
Now,
seen those huge coffee cups, like the giant, like what they're like, say like 4 or 5 inches across and like 6 inches high? My parents owned a coffee shop, so I would like make myself like espresso and like fill the entire cup and just drink it black.
ooh, but that wake you up, huh? Well, okay, then I have to ask then. Did you get headaches when you did not drink coffee? Withdrawals and stuff like that? Because that's what I've heard.
I didn't, but I didn't have terrible withdrawals when I came off of crack either. So
Okay, yeah, because I've known people that get really bad headaches when they don't get their coffee.
I
And here
get
we
really
have,
bad headaches from drinking coffee, but that's because like I don't drink water and I get dehydrated. So
oh, dehydrated? Yeah, that's the caffeine probably. Whoa, who? It's Hans. So, of course, there's Hans. My darling, your basket of fruit was lovely. But I am taking a bath now. Of course, she's trying to keep him out because Hercules is in there. Can't you come back later? Yes, Fraulein. Thank you, dear. And of course, they're laughing at him. And there we are with Venus. Yeah, now that I'm starting to watch more of this, it's getting easier to tell them apart. So Venus and we have Frida doing laundry. This morning I have such a big washing to do. How's Hans? And of course she's Hans is fine. Danka, he's fine. Frida, something's wrong with it. What is it? And of course, women's intuition knows. And here's where she explains that she knows what's going on with Cleopatra and Hans. Well, if she smiles by somebody I know, she'll have to buy herself a new set of teeth. Why is it we women always has got to worry? It's always been that way. I guess it always will be. Well, not anymore. Yeah, and by me, she has no shame. Always when I can hear it, she says to him, Many thanks, my darling, for the flowers. Thanks, my darling, for this. And thanks, my darling, for that. Always something he has given her. Don't you worry, Frida. He doesn't love her. That big horse. Yes, but she keeps after him. So Frida knows what's going on. And it's not right for Frida to put up with it. And here they are playing cards. That soft flimsy, what you call it stuff. Or not like what Lady Godiva. Ah, that's it. And I'll hire her to ride the back of my bull, he says, and they're laughing. Ah, that's it. And I'll this is where, of course, Hans is not looking happy. He knows they're making fun of him. Doomkopf, what have you on your shoulder for heads? Swill pails? And of course, her putting on an act for attention. What's the matter, Cleo? I think I strained my shoulder last night, she says. Getting him to rub it, and that's, of course, so she can get them to make fun of him and laugh, which is what they're doing. And of course, he gets very upset when he sees them laughing at him. You're not worthy to speak to a woman. You belong on the street, you pigs. And she leaves. That reminds me, I had a swell dream about you last night, he says. But you can see he's really pining for her. It's too bad. Because she's not in the clowns. You were standing
what
in
are
a
you
bathing
talking
suit on
about?
a rock. Well, I've heard
Just watch
women.
the scene.
What's that?
Just watch the scene.
Right, you were standing in a bathing suit on a rock, like a statue.
This one reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. You tell somebody you're like, I had a dream about you last night, and they're always just like, ew, and you're like, yeah, you were begging for change outside the 7-Eleven.
The wind was blowing through your hair, the waves were washing around you, and your figure, how it stood out, it looked great. Say, you have got a good figure. Sure, Frozo. Yeah, I did, and it was a wow. Get up here, Johnny. I'll show it to you. I did what you told me, and it laid them right in the sawdust. Watch this, Venus. Rosa, here's where she is starting to see that and realize that he cares. I think the reason why she was just not noticing earlier was because she was still upset about what Hercules did.
Well, it's been like what, 1 day, 2 days?
Yeah, exactly. So she's not going to be able to change her emotions that quickly. We were
Certainly
all
not.
dressed up. What did I have on? And that I look swell? Everybody was pointing at me. They were saying that's Frozo the clown, and I was embarrassed. Did they say anything about me? Sure. Go ahead, hit me. On the head, hit me. As he hands her a mallet. And when she hits him, he pulls his costume up to look like a headless figure dancing around. That's how it is. You don't think it's funny. Of course, they weren't laughing. It's sad, is it? It will just panic them. That's how sad it is. He was hoping it would be a gag that they would enjoy. And here comes the bird lady talking into his ear. When? Come on. Come on, Venus. The bearded lady's baby's born. So here we have bearded lady here giving birth with all the performers around her. Ain't it cute? What is it? A girl. Oh boy, that's great. And it's going to have a beard. How's the proud father? So the father is the living skeleton. That's what this guy is named. What was it? A girl? Better luck next time. You may get a couple of Smith brothers. Of course, they're talking about how he was hoping to have a boy. You can see the way he walks. That yeah, he didn't have much meat on his body. Please, Violet, don't quarrel with him anymore. If he's going to say anything, let him say it. She says. And of course, he's stuttering. Let him for an hour. You're going to do as I say. I'm the boss of my home. Half of it. You mean, please, Violet, of course, because they forget about the sister. Listen here, I don't want those tramps you go with hanging around my wife. And here's where she says to hook up her dress. If it isn't your dress I'm hooking up, it's something else. And another thing, you've got to cut out getting drunk every night, too, he says. I'm not going to have my wife laying in bed half the day with your hangover. So that's what's funny is the sister drinks a lot, which causes his wife to get drunk and get a hangover. And of course, Daisy, let's get out of here. No, she don't. She's going to stay right here. But of course, they leave, and there it is again. You're always using that for an alibi. And we have the lady with no arms. And I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly.
It's a damn good alibi, though. I wish I had an alibi, like just on hand like that.
Yeah, it's not something you can make up, and there's plenty of evidence, right? I think it's Angelino Rossellini. I want to make sure I pronounce the name right. Here, let me go back to the video. Okay, we have the lady with no arms and Angelino. I believe it's Angelino Rossellini. Him, right there. She'd spit on Hans if he wasn't giving her presents. Let her try do anything to one of us, he says. Does anybody recognize this guy?
No.
Nope. Okay, let me see where we are in the video. We are at approximately 25 minutes in. I'm going to pop in a quick clip here that I'm going to see if you guys can recognize. Now, it's going to be quick because I don't want to get a copyright strike, obviously. So let's go here. And then tell me if you guys recognize this clip that I'm going to pop in. Does anybody recognize that?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
Looks interesting.
Ooh. That is a clip from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of those movies.
Oh, I
Not,
highly
not.
recommend it. Yeah. So that's Angelino. That's the same actor from Freaks. And this is the third Mad Max movie called Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where he plays Master. And he's part of a couple. He's on a big guy's shoulders, and the big guy has a big helmet on, and the big guy's Blaster. So they go by Master Blaster, and they run this town. So that's him. He's on the back on the. My goodness, you guys haven't seen the Mad Max movies. Oh yeah. Okay.
He's just a baby. I've certainly heard of Master Blaster, so that's interesting to see it.
Yeah. So this and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was like 1987, 88. So he was pretty old when he made it. Okay, so let me cut back to where we left off on Freaks. And because I had to use the same video player to kind of go back and forth. And we were at about 25 seconds. There we go. And I got to turn the subtitles back on. Don't want to forget that. I hope you guys don't mind with the Gilligan's Island subtitles.
The poll. We got an interesting poll tonight.
Yeah, oh, thank you. But yeah, everybody, if you're watching this in the chat, please vote in the poll and give us your opinion on what you think about this movie. And let's see here if I need to get caught up with the chat, because I don't want to forget anybody, and we are nothing without the chat. And Gorillas Random Thought says, my ex always told me, you're not even effing listening to me, are you? And I always thought that was a strange way to start a conversation. Mad Scientist says, hi, everyone. Hello, Mad Scientist. So good to see you. Mad Scientist says, Gorilla, long time no see. How's the carrot? Yeah, where's our snow woman?
Damn straight, lemon pie. It's been good.
Yeah, Gorilla promised us a sexy snow woman. And Gorilla says, hey, Mad Scientist. Captain Finity says, drunk? He's completely legless. And then Pie says, hello, Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist says, hi, Lemon. Lemon Pie says, now that's going too far, asking someone to stop getting drunk every night. Captain Finity says, every other night, maybe. Lemon Pie says, Captain, for you, okay. And
You gotta drink. You gotta drink beer on the weeknights. You can't drink. You gotta save the weekends to drink the whiskey.
The hard liquor, right? There you go.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Captain Finity says, thank you. Let's drink to that. Lemon Pie says, here's to sobriety. Captain Finity says, cheers. And Gorilla says, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I have been occupied with someone lately. Oh, well, hopefully that's a good thing, Gorilla. Here's the scene we were talking about. So this is the one that was submitted. See how the cigarette's already rolled? So in the original, he actually rolled it with his mouth before he struck the match.
What if he just like balls up the tobacco in his mouth and like, spits it on the paper and then just like puts his head down on top of it and just rocks back and forth? Right. It'd be really interesting to see how he does it. I'd probably just be amazed.
Yeah, you figured he's had years of practice. Same way in the last pound, never heard such applause in your life. Let me tell you something that everybody around here don't know. You're only killing time with this circus. We got bigger time to follow, and we can do it too. After our tomorrow night, we got something new, he says. Yeah, you can do anything with your eyebrow. And here, there we go. With Schlitzie. Schlitzie, what a pretty dress. How beautiful you look tonight. There's Venus. You're just a man's woman. You know what I mean, you. You guys, I don't know if you guys are going to understand this or not, but when I was a kid and I first saw this, it was like on a late night Saturday morning, or late night horror festival or something like that on a Saturday night. I thought that was Jerry Lewis because that kind of looked like Jerry Lewis in his earlier movies, but no, and no offense to Jerry Lewis or Schlitzie. So if you're a good girl, when I get to Paris, I'll buy you a big hat with a long, beautiful feather on it. Hello, Elvira. Hi. Here's the other pinheads. Hello, Jenny. Jenny Lee. How's your Sleuthie got a beautiful dress? Isn't that pretty? When I get to Paris, I'm going to buy her a big hat with a long feather on it. By the way, this birth defect, people are still born with it. You won't hear about it when they are, but it does still happen. I remember a few years ago somebody was born with this defect, and obviously it's because their brain is very very small because of the size of their skull.
There was a person like that in the Red Dead Redemption 2 game. I remember. Oh man, that was a sad mission. Oh man, you have to fight with the person too, and you just feel terrible. You're just trying to calm the situation down. Oh, it's brutal. It's
Ooh,
so sad.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really
Yeah,
well. That
you
whole
have to knock them out. I felt terrible. Oh man.
well, and not only that, but like that whole situation with the lady. She's like, "I'm the mother, and come here," and she's got the dwarf, and like it's very reminiscent of this movie.
it sounds like it's an influence.
Yes,
I played the first Dead Redemption.
Look,
you
the
need to play the
character
second
looks
one.
very much like Schlitzie, except it's like a big. It'd be like a 300-pound like monster though in Red Dead. It wasn't small at all.
Interesting.
He's Hercules size. He's the size. He would be the size of Hercules
Yeah,
in.
except he looks exactly like Schlitzie.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be scary because considering their handicap, they don't know when they're hurting you. I'm guessing.
Well, and he's drunk in the situation too.
Oh, okay. And but as we can see in real life, the real Schlitzie was very harmless. Okay. Did you see him? He was out there again tonight. So now we have the bird lady and the lady with no arms talking. He followed you from the last town. I know it, and if Eddie sees it, there'll be a fight. It ain't your fault. There you are, Francis. The man comes up here. Thought you'd gone to bed. Hello, Rollo. Hear that crowd out there again tonight? I bet you thought the tent was on fire. Well, it wasn't. It's the Rollo brothers panicking them again. So they're talking about the performance. But then we do it in every town. We're so used to it, it's getting monotonous. It's a heavy glass, so yeah, she's used to lifting stuff. Careful, don't waste any of it. And here we have our lush Cleopatra. Look how it sparkles like your eyes. The hand's still trying to woo her. The most beautiful woman in all the world. And here we have Venus. You're a funny guy, Ferozo. Sometimes you panic me. Don't I know it? I panic the world because I use my noodle. I think of funny gags. I make the world laugh. Try the hat. The head cold. Thought you and me had a date to go out. I forgot all about it, she says. Well, I'm into this now. I've got to go through with it, he says. Make it snappy, will you? I'm all dolled up for the occasion, she says. Sorry, kid, can't do it now. And he crawls out from under the tub because it's just an act. A false bottom. We'll make it some other time, he says. Don't feel that way about it. I just got this idea all of a sudden. I've got to finish it. Funny gag, isn't it? Yeah, I'm laughing myself sick. Oh, poor Frozo. Honey, come on, he says. That's much better. That's the first time you've ever done that, she says. It ain't the first time I felt like doing it. Yeah? Now it's official, yes. Which is good. She deserved a good man. I don't mind telling you I've wanted to do this for a long time, he says. Now she's giddy. And now we have somebody apparently romancing the other sister. Please do. Yes, but I don't know what to say. Just say yes, dear. It sounds like he's maybe proposing. Yes, Violet. Here it is. Here's the scene you were talking about, right? So them two are kissing. The other sister's enjoying it.
That's right. This is the one that we were talking about.
She's just sitting there reading a book. That's so sweet.
Right, trying to distract herself, and of course, it's not doing any good. What are you kicking about? You've got a good wife. You're happy. That sister-in-law of mine. She wants to sit up half the night reading. That's tough. Tough, you. Good night, darling. Good night, Fraulein. So everybody knows it's no big secret what's going on here in the circus between Hans and Cleopatra. Cleo's gone on a diet, and he's laughing. It's awfully sweet of you to say that, and I know Violet will be happy. Here's Roscoe. Roscoe, this is Mr. Rogers. Glad to meet you. So these men are soon to be, I guess they're going to marry to each a separate woman, so they're going to have to learn to get along. Violet and I are engaged to be married. Oh, yeah? Yes, and you must come to see us sometime. Okay. You must come to visit. Come to see us sometime, too, he says. I wonder how they're going to arrange something like that.
I have no idea.
I know, right? Privacy. Can you imagine privacy? But, like I said, it's happened before. Who is it? So now we have Frida coming to talk, and she's hesitating. There's Hans. And of course, she's trying to appeal to Hans. If you knew how I feel, Hans, to come to see you about her. Frida, I'm so sorry, he says. I don't want to hurt you, but that's German, and I don't want to mispronounce it. So he still professes his love for Frida, but he's finding it very difficult to not also show him pining for Cleopatra. So basically, he's stringing her along. But I am happy, Frida. Never in my life was I so happy. I think because he considers Cleopatra unobtainable. Maybe that's why he feels he can get away with this. No, Hans, you think it only for you. She cannot bring happiness. Frida, you don't know, he says. Don't, Hans, please. But to her, you're only something to laugh at. Whole circus, they make fun by you and her. Let them laugh, the swine. I love her, they can't hurt me. But they hurt me, she says. I should have come to you in the beginning.
Such a sweetheart she is.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She's like, it's okay. I just want you to be happy.
Hi, Sean.
How's it going, PvP?
Hey, PvP.
What happened? Did we lose Pops?
No, I think he's just clicking through the.
Oh, sorry. Here,
the chat.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I accidentally hit mute when my dog walked across. No more drinking for me, strictly wine and beer. Lemon pies and perhaps eggnog. And Oleg Greg says, cheers. Sean Carter, thank you. It's so good to see you. Hi, all. Sorry I've been away. I've been working my second job. Well, I'm glad you're here to join us, Sean. Oleg Greg says, vote lemon in 2024, and I second that. And speaking of eggnog, we have Pleasant Valley Picker. Hi, Pop. Is there a link? And Pleasant Valley Picker, PvP, thank you for reminding me. I forgot to put that in the chat. Shame. I really apologize, everybody. I'll put the link in there now. In fact, my stream even started late. I was rushing to try to get everything going. But, of course, that's no excuse. So there's now a link in the we pin that message. Okay, so there is now a link in the chat. If anybody there would like to join the panel. And by the way, anytime you come on my streams and you'd like to join the panel, if there is not a link, if you see that I did not post one in the chat, please remind me and let me know, and I will put it there. I tend to forget sometimes, so it's not something deliberate. And Gorilla's Random Thought says, hey, PvP. Lemon Pie says, Euler, vote for me, and I'll be the best, finest, biggest candidate ever. Very classy. I totally agree, Lemon Pie. And PvP says, hi, Gorilla. Lemon Pie says, Picker, hey. And PvP says, hi, Lemon. And Pleasant Valley Picker says, going good, guys. Well, we're glad you could join us, PvP. There's the link in the chat. So feel free to use it, guys. Come on up and join us if you'd like. We're having a great time. Lemon Pie says, thank you for acknowledging that chat pop. I try to. I feel really, really bad if I skip anybody. So that's the last thing that I plan on doing. Because without the chat, I wouldn't be here. Everything I do is for you guys. Lemon Pie says, I'm sure it's not an easy balance to strike sometimes to check in with chat and cover the topic. Well, sometimes it's a juggle, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So here we are with Cleopatra admiring the new gift from Hans, and Hercules notices that it's made out of platinum, which has got to be extremely expensive, even for back in those days. Say, where do you think that little pollywog is getting his money? And they're laughing. Listen to them getting so particular. What do you care where the money comes from? How much it's worth? We got 500 for the bracelet, but this looks like thousands. So unfortunately, Hans has been giving her different gifts, and she's been turning around and selling them. I think next time I'll take a fur coat. Say that little ape's got ideas about you. Jealous? Me? I squash him like a bug, he says. And there's a knock at the door. That's his knock. I'll get rid of him. Go quickly. So he goes and hides. And the door opens, and we have Frida come in. And of course, with disdain, Cleo says to her, what do you want? It's about Hans, she says. Well, I'm listening. It's behind his back. Everybody's laughing because he's in love with you. And there we are. Hello, PvP. Good to see you there.
Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yes, loud and clear. Perfect.
Good. Yeah, I just got
good to see you, PvP.
Just muted YouTube. There we are.
Yeah, we're just a little over halfway through the movie, and it's a short movie. It's only a little over an hour long, so.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of wondering if I'd even make it tonight, because I thought you guys might be all done since it's such a short film. But I guess you started late. It said in the chat there.
yeah, I didn't start till almost about 25 minutes late, so I feel bad. But I guess that kind of helped make it work for you. So
yeah, I got out of work about 5 after 7, so about 40 minutes ago, I guess, something like that.
Cheers, PvP.
PvP
cheers,
in the house. And there's Skogly, good old Skogly. Everybody's laughing because he's in love with you, says Frida. But Hans, he does not know this. He finds out never again will he be happy. And Cleo says, what makes you think that I'm just making fun? Because you're big, you're so beautiful, and Hans is so little, she says. Well, maybe I'm going to marry him, she says. And Frida says, if you marry, it will be at you. They laugh and stare. And she says, that's good. Nothing like being different. I regret saying that. Queen of the Air, married to a dwarf. And then, of course, she busts out laughing. A dwarf. Then it's not for Hans you care. It's the money. And then, of course, Cleo's ears pick up and say, money? You little mind reader. And here's where Frida unfortunately spills the beans and says he has told you of the. Here's where Frida accidentally spills the beans and says he has told you of the fortune he has inherited. And of course, that makes Cleo's eyes light up because she had not heard about that. Always he swore to me to tell no one until after we leave the circus. And fancy you knowing about it too. Okay. Well, I can't anger at him for that. No, you cannot do this. You wait and see. Please, you can't. So she pleads with Cleo, and of course, unfortunately, it doesn't do any good, especially now that she told Cleo about the fortune. And of course, immediately we have Hercules hiding in the wings with more booze. A fortune. I bet the little ape's worth billions. Fortune, can you beat that? Of course, she's all excited about it. A fortune, and I have him like that, she says, at the snap of a finger. True little Hans. He knew enough to keep his mouth shut. Yes, he would marry me. Midgets are not strong, she says. He could get sick, so she's already making plans, of course. How? It could be done slowly. And now we have the wedding feast. So this is the night of the wedding, apparently, between Hans and Cleopatra. And here we have our very iconic scene. That's the bird suit that I mentioned earlier that was originally designed for Lon Chaney Sr., but he passed away before the movie was made. And here they are celebrating and laughing and drinking. But of course, Cleo couldn't resist herself, and she's sitting right next to Hercules, and they're just laughing it up. Here she is slipping a little Mickey into Hans's champagne. Come on, my little precious. Come on, let's drink. Big happy drink. Come on. Quiet, please. Be quiet. Hey, Cuckoo, give somebody else a chance. And they're all laughing. A waltz, please. So as we have the sword swallower do a performance for them. And he swallows the sword. And here we have Miss Citrulini sitting next to Schlitzie. And you can see Frida's not looking very happy. Throw him up, Volcano. Burn him up. So now we have the fire-eating man. Our wedding night. And she's laughing, obviously drunk. What a thrill, she says. My Cleo's happy, says Hans. Happy? Happy. And she laughs even harder when he says that. And of course, so does Hercules. And poor Frida is just not doing well. I even could kiss you, you big homely brute, she says to Hercules. And of course, as Han watches on, and of course, we get a surprised look on Hans's face when he sees them two embrace and kiss.
At my fucking wedding.
Right. Yeah, exactly. At my wedding, right.
My wife.
And here's where the truth starts coming out, unfortunately, because she's been drinking. My little green-eyed monster. My husband is jealous. He loves me. And now everybody's starting to notice what goes on, and poor Frida leaves. Come, my little lover. Drink to the happiness of your loving wife. And of course, he's not very happy. We'll make her one of us. We accept her, one of us. Gooble gobble, gooble gobble, gooble gobble, gooble gobble, one of us, one of us. They're going to make you one of them, my peacock. And that's a sobering thought, she says, which immediately completely changes her mood. She didn't like the sound of that. Gooble gobble, we accept her. And she doesn't like that at all. And they're passing around this cup for them to all to drink from to celebrate the union of the two. And of course, she's even more appalled. And here he is bringing the cup to her for her to share and partake. He takes his drink. We're going to make you one of them, my dear, he says to her, and he hands her the glass. You dirty, she says. Slimy freaks. Get out of here, she says. And she throws the drink on him. Get out of here. Get out, she yells. And then, of course, they get up and they're all shocked and they start leaving. What are you, a man or a baby? She says to Hans. Please, you make me ashamed, he says. Ashamed? You? Holy jumping Christmas. What must I do? Must I play games with you? She says. Now she is mocking. Huh. Must Mama take you horseback ride? That's it, horseback ride, as Hercules says as he's laughing. And of course, the most demeaning thing of all, he walks around. Come, my little fly speck. And he picks up Hans. Mom is going to take you horseback ride, and he puts Hans on Cleo's shoulders, and she starts. And as you can see, poor Hans is in shame, and they're laughing and making fun of him as the other performers look on. And here we have later on inside their railroad cart. She is sorry. I'm sorry. Of course, they realize what they've done and they made a mistake. And Hans still doesn't quite realize what's going on. Didn't I tell you she was drunk? Didn't I tell you we was only having a little fun? Of course, that's Hercules talking. And everything, no, you don't. As you can see, Hans is sweating, and apparently he's dizzy from the drink. I tell you, there's nothing between me and Cleo. And of course, she's looking at him like he needs to shut up. Don't you realize what I'm being accused of? She says. I ain't going to be blamed for something I have not done. I don't blame you, Cleo, says Hans. And here we have a spy looking through the window. Now you're talking. Always I should have known than to hurt your feelings. You understand now it was only a joke, she says. Our wedding? Now I know how funny it is. Right. Hans the midget. Hans the fool, he says. To the divorce court, they'll laugh. Everywhere they're laughing. Unfortunately, in delirium, he passes out. And of course, she gets up and they make their move. And she takes him over to his trailer. And we have Prince Randy watching. And here we have the next day. He's in bed with the doctor, treating him. Doctor, what is it? What caused it? And the doctor surmises that it was poison. And of course, Miss Tetralini looks straight at Cleo. And she knows that too as well. A very bad case of ptomaine poisoning.
It's pretty bold to poison them on the wedding night.
On the very wedding night, right. Because originally she said slowly, but I guess she just didn't have the patience. Doctor, did I do wrong then? Giving him mustard water? No, you probably saved his life, says the doctor. Of course, this guy's been watching the whole time. He knows what's going on. Never before did he drink like that, says Frida. But she kept making him and making him. You better get Cleo to tell the doctor what she put in that wine last night. You can't get away with it. I'll tell the coppers, she says. Not dirty rats. What would kill a freak to get his money? And of course, he tries to grab her. And then he notices that all her friends are looking on, and he knows that's probably not a good idea. Your imagination's getting the best of you, he says. Yeah, maybe it is, she says. But coppers don't have imagination, so I've been told. Now it's time for him to start worrying. And here we have that night. And it looks like the fellow sideshow performers have something maybe dastardly in mind for them. Theo, yes, it has been a week tonight since we have been married. A week since I have said all those things to you. Don't, she says. Never can I forgive myself for what I've said. I have forgotten it. Nothing matters except for you to be well. So good you are by me, Cleo. I must fix your medicine or I'll be late, she says. And she goes into the kitchen and she has that bottle. But also she pulls out a little black bottle, as you see there, and pours it in the bottle. And she gives it to him, unfortunately. And he spits it out inside the handkerchief. I'll be soon back, my little. I'll never forget what you're doing for me, Cleo. That's what I want to do, my darling. Of course, she's not telling the truth. Now I must hurry. Will you leave the door open, please? Yes, my darling. And now she's getting suspicious because all the other performers are hanging around the trailer. I must hurry now and fix your medicine, my darling, or I will be late. Slimy freaks. Yeah, he hasn't forgotten. He's waiting. Fine. So here they are making plans. And now we have them traveling through the rain in their trailers. There we go. A lot of dialogue there. Sorry, guys. You're imagining things, no? And I hear Hercules tell Cleo, Venus knows too much. Hercules, Venus? Yes. And that's what alarms him. And here she is back. And he's surrounded by his friends, and she doesn't like that. She tells him to leave, and Hans says, but I like them here. And she says, no, Hans. I will give you your medicine and get you off to sleep. Go on, all of you, quick. As she turns around and gets ready to give him more poison, of course. But he basically sits up in bed and he's watching her and he notices. And he says, what's this? Give me that little black bottle. And she's surprised that he noticed. And here's where they're subtly giving her a little bit of a warning here. We have one with a switchblade. She begins cleaning the switchblade and she notices that. And we have the man with no legs with a Ruger gun. And he said, the bottle. So she sees she has no choice and she hands over the bottle. You got this bottle of poison to kill, says Hans. And here we have somebody walking through the window and banging on the door. And Venus hears this and does not know what to do. She doesn't know what's going on. She grabs a knife. And it looks like we have a struggle here. I believe it's with Hercules and Frozzo. Do I have to bust you in the jaw to make you get out? So the two are struggling, and unfortunately, the trailer hits a hole, as you can see, capsizes, and they fall out into the mud. And they go chasing her into the rain. Here we have the struggle and the fight between Hercules and Frozzo, the clown. And him burning Frozzo, unfortunately, which is sad because unfortunately he is a lot stronger. Poor Frozzo. And this is them going to looking for Mrs. Tetralini, calling for help, Mrs. T, Mrs. T. Then we are getting a little bit of help there and fighting still. And here we have the fighting goes on below the trailer, and we have this guy here with a switchblade knife. He throws it and stabs. Thank goodness.
What a shot!
Very good shot. Well, you figure he's a circus performer. That's probably part of his act, right? So, yeah, he got the guy right in the abdomen there. And with that, Frozo is able to give him a slug in the face and roll out from under him. And here he is in pain with the knife sticking out of his side. And the guy has another knife and is advancing on him. These are the scenes that really scared people back in the day, I imagine, because
Oh, yeah.
ignorance.
These are the scenes I remember. I haven't seen this film probably in 30 years, but it's a film, once you see it, you don't forget it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah, this ending is pretty awesome.
And here's where they all start circling in on him. And he knows that he's trapped, nowhere to go.
This is the shot I was talking about earlier with the prince, where he's got the knife in his mouth and he's just like worming his way through the dirt towards the dude, and it's just like, oh my god, like I want to see
What's he
how he
gonna
would
do?
kill that guy. Yeah, right.
Right. Does he throw it? Does he? Yeah, exactly. How does he do that?
He
Wiggles up to him and
spits
he
it at
like
it.
stabs him in the side, you know, just kind of
Get over here so I can reach you.
exactly.
And here we are, poor Clea running through the rain. Please help, please help. And screaming because she knows that they're after her. And now we cut to the scene that we were introduced at the beginning of the movie. The carnival barker has the audience gathered around the box of saying how she got that way will never be known. Some say a jealous lover, others that it was the code of the freaks. Others the storm. Believe it or not, there she is. And now we have Cleo in her new form. And I have to say, this is an excellent, masterful effect.
Oh, especially for back in the day, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It is extremely.
What year was this film again? I forget now. It was what, 20s, 30s?
1932.
No, 32.
32. Okay. I knew it was around there somewhere. Yeah. Wow. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So we cut to apparently after, and looks like Hans was able to receive his fortune. And in all these years, I've seen no one send them away. Very good, sir. So this is years later.
And now all of a sudden everything looks terrible and overexposed and just shitty.
Yeah, it is. It's too brightly lit.
I think this is extra footage that they shot behind the director's back after they recut the film.
You know, you're right. When I was reading on the trivia, they did add extra scenes at the end to try to give it a happy ending. The audience didn't like the dour ending of the original.
Really?
Yeah, and that spectacular lighting and cinematography that you've seen for the entire film is missing from the, it's just, this was not made by the director. This was shot by somebody else.
Also, a word of note, go ahead.
It's brutally obvious to me.
The original ending was great, I thought. I mean, I can't understand why they had to try to put a happy ending. That kind of ruins the whole film, really.
And they still do that. Studios still mess up their movies because it's based on the audience reactions, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
And another little known fact is in the original ending, a scene that was cut out was Hercules. They castrated him. And there was a scene where he was singing in falsetto with a high-pitched voice. And they cut that out.
Awesome.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why they highlighted all those people coming towards him with knives.
That's intense for 1932.
Right. So they made Cleo the bird woman with no legs, and they castrated Hercules. No, sir, I have my orders. What's going to stop me? I'm in, ain't I? As you can, Hans, the old boy. There's someone you just got to see. Why did you come here? Says Hans. Please, Hans, don't be angry, she says. Venus and Frozo have been so kind by me. Please go away. I can see no one, he says. He's still living in shame. But how do you try to stop them? It was only the poison you wanted. She's trying to tell him not to feel guilty. And there we have Frozo and Venus, what looks like apparently they're happily married. Don't cry, Hans. Don't cry, she says. I love you.
So the cut I watched, it had all the same scenes, but it was arranged slightly differently at the end. When it cut to black at the exciting scene, it switched to the scene where it was years later, and then we had the scene talking. We had that happy scene, and then it cut back to the opening scene with the announcer, and the final shot was the chicken lady.
So the lady, yeah. You know what? It's interesting because I thought, it was years ago when I first saw it, but I thought that was the final scene too. The lady in the box.
Yeah, that's the cut I just watched. Yeah. So there's two different versions floating around. The scenes were exactly the same. There was no extra footage. They were just arranged. That last scene, it cut back to that. And it made the starkness of how poorly that one scene was lit, because they cut 30 minutes of footage from this movie behind the direct. This is on the. I was reading the Wikipedia, so it could be wrong, but it said that they cut 30 minutes of footage and then added a little bit to make it more longer than an hour, and that was that footage at the end.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. So there are apparently different cuts out there of the film, and I'm guessing maybe depend on, because it sounds like the copyrights have switched hands through different owners maybe over the years. Maybe that's why we're getting different cuts.
Was there any of that cut footage, that 30 minutes, ever saved, or is it all lost?
Lost forever.
Wikipedia says it was lost, or does not exist.
Right.
Darn,
sadly.
That's a shame. Darn.
There's probably provenance as to what actually happened to it. They're like, oh yeah, there were these films and it got over. They just reused reels and shit before, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, to go behind the director's back and cut like a third of the film out of it, basically, is pretty damn nasty. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't give a damn about the film, obviously, to even do that. So I would imagine they probably just got rid of that footage at some point.
That's just like the Fantastic Four with Josh Trank, right? They replaced half the movie.
Really? I didn't realize that much. Wow.
Yeah, half of it. And by the way, the very famous actor Myrna Loy was originally slated to play Olga, but she turned down the part because she felt the script was offensive. So the parts in this movie were actually offered to fairly big movie stars, and they turned it down.
Well, I suppose in 1932 that was pretty controversial subject matter. I mean, back in those days, probably a lot of people did think of, so-called freaks, as like less than human, right?
Exactly.
I mean, why? I mean, even the whole concept of a freak show now is like, I mean, nobody in their right mind would even try and stage something like that these days, So I think the film was ahead of its time, really. I mean, treating the freaks as people, and not freaks.
Yes, exactly right. I guess following the huge success of Dracula in 1931, which MGM director Todd Browning made on loan to Universal, he was instructed by MGM production chief Irving Thalberg to, quote, give us something to out-horror Frankenstein, another Universal hit at the time. So Browning was essentially given the freedom to make whatever he wanted, but Thalberg was completely unprepared for what he produced. One woman, after seeing Freaks, wrote a letter to Todd Browning at MGM exclaiming, you must have the mental equipment of a freak yourself to devise such a picture. Another viewer complained, to put such creatures in a picture and before the public is unthinkable. Call them creatures, that's terrible.
It just goes to show you the mentality back then, though, towards these people, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
It's like they weren't considered human beings. I mean, it's pretty sad, really, And one of the things I love about this film is how basically, the so-called freaks are the sympathetic characters. I mean, we get to see them as human beings, and the things they're facing, and the way they're treated, and it's just I think it's really, really far ahead of its time.
And even though they do something terrible, you're still like, fuck yeah,
Well, the thing is,
that
they
was
do
awesome.
what they do
Yeah,
is
yeah. She got what she deserved. Right. Exactly.
exactly. She
Right?
deserved what
And
she
they
got.
still come out looking heroic too, even though they did do kind of went overboard.
Well, yeah, I guess, but I mean, well,
No,
she was gonna murder Hans though, right? With the poison, she would have murdered him if they hadn't stepped in.
Right. She would
oh,
have murdered him and
exactly.
inherited the fortune. Right.
Yeah, so it's not like she was a nice, nice lady that didn't deserve what she got really in the end.
No.
Well, and they
And what's
alluded
great
even at the
is
beginning of the movie to the
right.
freak's code.
Yes. And what's great is, as we saw around the dinner table during the wedding celebration, is that was her biggest fear was being considered one of them. So it was a very, very
Yeah,
fitting end that she got.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, justice.
Yep.
Actually,
Captain Infinity says
oh,
PvP.
hey,
Sorry,
Captain.
go ahead. Go ahead, PvP.
I was just thinking, watching this, listening to you talking about it, Pop, that it reminded me of that Ramones song, right? So I just pulled up the page on Wikipedia, and apparently it says here the Ramones were, influenced by the film that they saw at an art house cinema on
Oh.
one of their rare days off when an outdoor event they were to perform at was canceled due to the bad weather. And then they sort of wrote it into one of their songs, in their song called Pinhead.
Oh, interesting.
And it has the lyrics, Gabba Gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba Gabba, hey, Gabba Gabba, hey. So yeah, and they actually even it says here they actually got one of their I guess one of their roadies at the time to put on a pinhead mask and come out dancing on the stage
Oh,
after the
Jesus.
concert.
Ooh, yeah.
And then
I guess.
and then it took on a life of its own. And then it says here even sometimes celebrity guests. It says Eddie Vedder. That seems yeah. I guess they were still going when Eddie Vedder was starting out. It
Oh
said
yeah.
Eddie Vedder once donned the mask on stage, so
Jesus.
I thought that was pretty funny. But there you go. I mean, all those years later, it still is having a cultural influence, right?
Yeah, all the people singing along to those songs and who didn't realize where they were inspired by.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I always thought it was pretty funny that the Ramones put it in the song.
Lemon Pie says one of us. Is this where that chant comes from? Actually, yes, it is. It's
Yep.
gone down in
Totally.
history. One of us. One of us. Lemon Pie. Why did she turn into a biatch? Too much money. Too much money. DVB, so good to see you, DVP. Hey, pop culture curator. Glad to have you here, DVB. And Lemon Pie says DVB. DVB says, haven't seen the movie, but I enjoy hearing YouTubers talk about movies I've never seen. Well, DVB, please don't take our word for it. I highly recommend you see this movie. It is a very, very rare gem that is unmatched in Hollywood. It's not like, there's 100 movies out there like this one. It is very, very rare.
And it's
DVB
short
says, "Hey,
too.
Lemon Pie," and it's short, right? And that's another thing too. The even with all the truncated editing and everything that it went through, production hell, it's the
It's
script and the pacing is quite smooth and it's not boring. It's real, like I
Yeah.
said, it
it's
reminds me of a
tight.
Twilight Zone episode.
It's tight and dense. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, for 1 hour, man, it doesn't feel like it. It feels longer than that, which would normally be a bad, like, sound like an insult, but in this case, it's not.
Yeah. That's
Right, yeah,
totally
right,
true. Yeah. I
right.
agree.
With all the cuts, usually it makes the movie disjointed and doesn't make sense, but it still does. It's still fluid, and everything connects together.
Yeah. The film really works even if in its present form. It works really well.
DBB says, "Hey, Lemon Pie, I hope you've been well." DBB says, "Dang, this movie was made." DBB says 1932. Yes, that is correct. DBB says she's a super freak, super freak, super freak. A LOL. There's the Rick James reference. Googly, yep. DBB, the word freak is funny in the way that it can be used as a compliment or an insult. Well, right,
That's
depending
true.
on who's
That's true.
listening, right? I'm a freak in the sheets. I think I've heard that term, right? Freak in bed, freak in the sheets, something like that. DBB, like if I say Skogly is a guitar freak, I mean it as a high compliment. Yes, yes, DBB, I agree. Skogly is highly talented in that department. And DBB says, on the other hand, if I say the Elephant Man was a freak, that's just a description. Well, people looked at the Elephant Man as a freak, but as he even so famously said, he's not animal. He is a human being. Olga Greg says cheers. And DBB says, if I say Biden is a freak, I mean as an insult. LOL. Biden probably calls himself that every day. I promise to watch it, says Pop Culture Curator. Good DVB. Believe me, it's well worth it. And Olga Greg says, before Biden, I could afford eggs. You know what? Eggs are still $5 a dozen here where I live. So I don't know if they're ever going to go back down. And Olga Greg says, bourbon time. All right. So I think I've caught up on the chat so far. Thank goodness. Olga Greg says, I will pour one for my ghosts as well. There you go. For all our friends that are past or are no longer here. And like I said, there's a poll in the chat. If you haven't already voted, please do. Let us know what you think about this movie. We're making pretty good timing. We're coming up on 2 hours. So yeah, did not turn out to be one of our 4 or 5 hour streams, which is a blessing, I guess.
Well,
Maybe
it
a
helps
curse.
when you have a short film like this. So.
A short film, right? By the way, dwarf actor Angelo Rossito, the one that I mentioned, who appeared as Angelino, would go on a successful career in movies. He acted with Bela Lugosi in Spooks Run Wild, The Corpse Vanishes, and Scared to Death. He was also in TV and films, including Little Mo in the Robert Blake TV series Beretta.
Really?
And as I mentioned, he was part of Master Blaster in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So have you seen that, PvP?
I have, but I haven't seen it in so long. I forget it now. But yeah, I think there was a small person in that, wasn't there?
Yes. In fact, I showed a clip of it. Let me see if I can pull this up again. I showed a clip. It was before you were able to get here.
Yeah, I haven't seen Thunderdome since, so probably around the time it came out. I probably saw it on a movie channel or something.
I'll show that clip again. It's a short one with no audio, but here it is. Oops. Might help if I share it first. All right, let me share this. Get here. Present. Share screen. Window. And here we go. Here's him from Mad Max.
Oh, yeah. Totally recognizable now that I see him.
Yeah, now I figured you would, huh?
Yeah, I remember him in the chair or whatever it was, the thing that yeah, spinning around. Yeah.
Right. Oh, hey, PvP, are you ready for this? The other guys on this panel haven't seen the Mad Max movies.
No.
That's what I said. I was like, what?
Wow. You got to see the first one and the second one for sure.
Yeah, you're going to be blown away by the movies I haven't seen.
Wow. Oh, you got to see The Road Warrior.
I wasn't allowed to watch movies in the 80s, man. My parents were religious extremists.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of explains it then. Yeah. Gosh.
Well, remember, everybody, this stream is called Horror Sci-Fi, so maybe we can cover Mad Max one of these days.
That would be great, actually. I would love to cover the Mad Max series.
So would I.
The original 3. I wasn't totally impressed with Thunder Road or whatever it was called, but...
well, yeah, you mean Fury Road.
Yeah, Fury Road, yeah.
It was good for the effects. Right, it was good for the effects. I didn't like the gender swap where Max wasn't the star of the movie anymore.
Me neither, yeah.
But PvP, you know that the bad guy in that was the same guy who played the bad guy Toe Cutter in the first Mad Max movie, right?
Really? Okay. No, I didn't put it together because I haven't seen the first movie in ages. Like that's
ages. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys have not seen Mad Max, then yeah, it's a exciting action adventure. I guess you could say a twist on sci-fi because it's this dystopian future.
Yeah.
So that might be an excuse to cover it in this stream. I want to have a variety of movies for us to enjoy, so it doesn't seem like just one note.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, the first one's maybe not quite so sci-fi because it's just at the point where society's starting to break down, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yes.
Yeah, but by the time you get to the Road Warrior, it's definitely a dystopian future at that point. And then, of course, Thunderdome as well. But yeah, those are great films.
Oh, they are, absolutely. And with great soundtracks, the music, the stunt work is phenomenal.
Well, that's one reason I love the Road Warrior so much is because you've got the music by Brian May from Queen. Doing the soundtrack score, which is brilliant. I mean, there's some great music.
Oh, that's a point for me, Doug. That makes me more interested in watching it.
Yeah.
Because man, that Queen soundtrack on Highlander.
Yeah, that's a great film too. That's another one you could cover, Pop, would be the Highlander. That would be awesome.
Yeah, at least the first one, huh? I know the second
Well,
one
yeah,
is
the
kind of
first one.
derided
Yeah,
as
the
a bad movie, but the first one
first
was
was
really
first one's like the only
Dude,
one
we
that
should
really
have a
counts.
watch party for the second one and just have a laugh.
That
maybe
would
a
be fun.
drinking game, right? A drinking watch party. But first one too. I
Uh,
mean, the performance by Clancy Brown just can't
oh
be doubled.
yeah, talk about a villain, eh? Wow,
Oh yes.
crazy. Yeah,
Gorilla
and Sean
Renaissance says,
Connery.
I know Sean Connery as a British Spaniard, if I
Yeah,
remember
it's
right. Right.
brilliant. Like it's just so ridiculous. It was hilarious. I just love it. But Sean Connery was awesome in that role.
Every role he was in, right.
But he was really super awesome in Highlander.
Well, thank goodness he did it because if he wouldn't, he would have done Star Trek V as Cybok. Aren't we glad
Oh,
he didn't do
Jesus.
Oh,
that?
oh, that would have
Yeah,
been
he
sad.
just shows up with this long Spanish name. He's like got this thick Scottish accent, claims he's from
Ramirez.
Egypt. It's like,
Right.
what?
Right.
I know. It's
Ramirez, a white
gold.
guy playing Ramirez.
It's gold. Yeah.
Gorilla's Renaissance says, "You guys feeling all right? Usually at this point, you're 5 minutes into the effing 1 hour movie." Yes,
Uh,
Gorilla. I've been trying to. I know I mentioned over the last few streams that I've been trying to trim them down and stay on point with the topic. I think that might help, and maybe we won't lose as many viewers or people on the rerun. And I try to cover as much as the behind the scenes trivia will allow. And by the way, one woman attended the 1932 test screening for that film for Freaks, and she claimed later that she suffered a miscarriage resulting from the film's shocking nature and threatened to sue MGM.
I
And
couldn't
rather
do it
than
without
visiting the
stand up.
set to gape at the cast, most MGM
Really?
employees avoided it as much as possible.
Huh. Wow.
The electrical equipment on the set was so badly grounded that the crew members were frequently shocked.
Jeez.
During filming, director Todd Browning was plagued with dreams in which Johnny Eck, by the way, guys, was the man who would walk on his hands with no legs. And it says during filming, director Todd Browning was plagued with dreams in which Johnny Eck and a pinhead would keep bringing him a cow in backward through a doorway in the middle of shoots. And although some sources credit Delmo Fritz as the sword swallower, this is not true, as Delmo died in 1925 and could not have played a movie which was filmed December of 1931. This film was originally banned in Australia. Premiere magazine voted this movie as one of the 25 most dangerous movies. Most of the sideshow performers were put up at the Castle Apartments next to the MGM lot during filming. This film is one of Guillermo del Toro's personal favorite films. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but he has these very expensive figures in his house that are replicas from the movie. I know he has the Bird Lady, and I think he has Schlitzie. I'm not sure how many he has, but they look spot on, just like the actors.
Huh.
There's some tours on YouTube of his house, and it's just mind-boggling. The creepy shit he has. It's so cool.
Oh, I didn't know that. I need to watch those. I love Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
The man has taste.
Dude, his house is bonkers. Like it's exactly how you would imagine it. It's like going to Ripley's.
Like a horror museum, exactly, right?
It's like going to Ripley's, believe it or not, museum. It's crazy. This house is awesome.
And it's probably in what, Mexico or somewhere? Do you know where it's at?
No idea.
Well, I don't know why I'm asking. It's not like it's open to the public. Freaks was also ranked number 3 in Entertainment Weekly's top 50 cult movies of all time.
Yeah, I could see
it's
that.
Also, it's also included among the 1,000 1001 movies you must see before you die.
Actually, the Hellboy films would be something to think about doing one of these weeks.
Yeah, I think those are kind of more like a superhero, aren't they?
They're kind of got horror elements. I mean,
I like the first two.
Yeah, I love the first two. I mean, especially the second one. I love the special effects in the second one.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's amazing.
Freaks was also included among the American Film Institute's 1998 list of 400 movies nominated for the top 100 greatest American movies.
Wow.
Entertainment Weekly ranked this as the 24th scariest movie of all time. And American Film Institute list of 2001 lists this as one of the top 100 most heart-pounding American movies. The hashtag release the Browning cut is used to get the original version of this movie and London After Midnight. So people are trying to band those two together to hopefully find those lost cuts. And in 2019, Abrams Comic Arts published Nobody's Fool, The Life and Times of Schlitzie the Pinhead, a graphic novel biography by Bill Griffith who delved into the making of the film.
There's a documentary made in like 1955, I think, about the Siamese twins. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. It's called like Connected for Life or something. It looks really interesting.
Oh, very cool. Prince Randy, and as we know, the guy with no arms or legs, developed a habit of lurking in dark corners and frightening passersby with a blood-curdling yell.
I would do that. That would make my day. Bite their shins.
Apparently, Schlitzie, the Pinhead, was big fans of Norma Shearer, an actress back then, and I don't know if anybody remembers the name Jackie Cooper. Jackie Cooper was a famous child actor. He went on to movies and TV, and most people might remember him as the original Perry White in the Superman movies with Christopher. Excuse me, Christopher Reeve. He played Perry White. So anyway,
yeah, I remember him. Yeah, it wasn't Jackie Cooper in the Kid with Charlie Chaplin too.
I think that was Jackie Coogan who played Mr. Uncle Fester. He was the one. Yes,
I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah.
I used to always get them mixed up, always. So yeah, it's totally understandable. But Schlitzie was a big fan of Jackie Cooper, and he asked to meet his favorite star. The child actor was highly disturbed by this. Schlitzie was so enamored with the filmmaking process, he even came to set on days he wasn't called. So yeah, he wanted to meet Jackie Cooper. Schlitzie wanted to meet Jackie Cooper, but Jackie Cooper wouldn't have any part of it, unfortunately.
Huh.
You know, it was originally over 90 minutes, and the extra footage is now presumed lost.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they ever found it, like they found that lost footage of Metropolis down in South America. I guess it was not too many years ago.
Oh, interesting. And according to Johnny Eck, the guy with no legs who walked with his hands, the sideshow performers started, quote, going Hollywood during filming. Several of them began wearing sunglasses in public. Some demanded special treatment on the set. They also argued over who was the most important to the film. I'm trying to see this. There's a lot of trivia. I'm hoping to cover up most of it. But anyway, okay, so let me see if I'm going to get caught up on any chats here. Nope, I guess we are caught up. And I'm going to show the results of our poll from the survey here. I'm going to go ahead and close that end poll. And now let me pop out the chat and so I can show that to everybody here and we can enjoy the results. There we go. All right. And here we have our poll. So we have 9 votes. It says, what grade would you give Freaks? 55% said A plus to A minus. 22% said B plus to B minus. C plus to C minus 11%. And D plus to F minus 11%. So it was pretty close. So that's pretty much, yeah, we had different range of opinions there, which is great. I appreciate that. Thank you for voting. So now let's talk about us on the chat. Scogli, please fill us in and tell us what you thought of this movie. What grade would you give it?
My vote is the one for C plus to C minus. I'm going to give it a C plus just because, while, like I said before, I gave the other one a C plus too. I think I gave Creepshow a C plus too. C plus is a good score.
Yeah.
A plus is an exceptional score. Okay, so yeah, I'm just so disappointed by the abrupt nature of the cut. Like, especially on the one that I've seen, how it was like just getting like super exciting under the fight in the mud and all that stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's over. Here's a scene years later, filmed by people who didn't know what they were doing, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, very
rough.
jarring.
And
Very
then you see the
jarring.
little. Then there was a little bit of. And then I got the chicken lady at the very end, right? So that kind of helped save it a bit more for me. But so C plus for the version I watched, and C minus for this version where it didn't have the good shocking ending right at the closer.
Exactly. Gorillas Random Thoughts. Good to see you there, sir. Glad you could join us.
I'm just here for the after stream thing.
Just here for the after stream. Okay, just in time.
And the obligatory F for the poll, right?
Right.
Hey, I didn't even vote because I didn't even know which one you guys were doing this week. So you can't blame the F on me.
I can't blame you every time? Ah, shucks.
Yeah, Gorilla, click the alert button on my channel so you get the poll when I put the poll out every week for people to vote on which movie we're going to watch.
Oh.
So PvP, what say you? What would you say your score of this movie or your rating is?
Well, as I say, I haven't seen it probably in 30 years, so my memory's a little fuzzy. But I decided to give it an A minus, just because not only is it an entertaining film, and it's in its present state, it's short enough where even if there's a few minutes here and there that you're not totally into, it's still pretty solid. And also, I think of the cultural significance of it, as being ahead of its time in the sense that it treated these folks like folks, like people, not subhuman or whatever, like a lot of people back in 1932 probably thought of them as not not quite human. But I thought it was a great basic story, a story of intolerance, with the woman who wanted to poison hands, and there was a nice little revenge twist at the end, and of course the ending is a classic. So yeah, I might, if I watched the whole thing again, like I said, I haven't seen it in so long, I might downgrade it a notch or two, but I think overall it's an important film that deserves to be recognized as such.
Thank you. I completely agree. And Nemesis of Eden, what say you? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic film. I gave it. I'm the obligatory A plus, because let's face it, I think this is a fantastic film. You look at it, there's so much character dynamics in the short time that we have. Like, not only as PvP was saying, does it humanize these people who were simply born with birth defects and are misunderstood, and they were given a chance and put on display, and it's really terrible how they were treated, just not only on set, but just how people in general treated them and to the reaction of the movie. But at the same time, it's important, because if there wasn't such a reaction as they had, it wouldn't be a big deal like it is today. Like the whole acceptance speech where they're at the table going, one of us, like, wow, in itself is kind of sublime and almost horrifying. It symbolized their acceptance as freaks to even had to accept this person into their ranks, and it was a great honor for them to be like, you're one of us. This is a good thing. And she was just, to me, it's almost like Cleopatra represented,
the audience.
Those other exactly.
Right. And when they say one of us, that's directly pointing at the audience and calling out their phobia.
Exactly. It's and I can discuss that a little bit later. It's off topic, but yeah, for what it is, this is a fantastic movie. Like the ending scene, which was, it sucks how they kind of just threw the happy ending in at the end because people can't handle darkness. It's unfortunate, but it didn't detract from the movie. It's not like, oh no, they put this scene at the end. Terrible. It's forever ruined. It's like, whatever. At least we got to see the two people that I cared about the most get a happy ending after something like that. Because that's really, if anyone, I wanted, not Hans, but Frida. I wanted Frida to be happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it was terrible the way tragic, I guess, the way she was treated throughout the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, I really like this movie. I thought it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I wanted you to finish.
Oh, that basically is it. I think it's a standout movie to me. It's one of my favorites. It's short, it's sweet, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Very cool. And DBB says, "Wow, who gave it an F?" Probably some Gen Z or millennial or something, IR or something, or I don't care what people vote. I love the honesty. So I don't care if everybody voted it F. I love honesty. I don't feel that anybody has to feel that they're forced to vote for something a certain way because other people are. The whole idea that we appreciate why we're here is for our individuality and our different opinions. And I'm biased. Ever since I was a kid, I don't know why I was obsessed with P.T. Barnum, the story of the circus. I didn't have a good childhood. I dreamt of actually running away and joining the circus, not realizing I was about 100 years too late. But I read up on all the sideshow performers. Like I said, I read I can't 3 or 4 P.T. Barnum movies or books. So the entire history of him collecting all the people from around the world and the sideshows. Tom Thumb. Um, he had the giant lady. I could go on and on just about P.T. Barnum. So maybe eventually, that's one thing that I always felt bad. They never made a really good P.T. Barnum movie based on P.T. Barnum. I don't mean that wretched Hugh Jackman thing. I won't watch that. That's not P.T. Barnum. But this movie was, in my opinion, I know it's directed by the same guy who directed Dracula, but I like it better than Dracula. I think it was very daring.
Yeah, that's a good description for it. Daring. It is a daring film.
Right. And it's just like today, the people who point fingers at it, calling it names, are the ones that are actually the most despicable and judgmental. And they should really look at themselves before they judge others.
Yeah, I think that's why the film is so great, really, because it is so daring. I mean, it's still daring. Even today, when you watch it, I'm sure some people would be shocked by it. But I mean, I can't imagine in 1932, people unsuspecting going into the theater to see this, and it's like I can understand in a way why some people would have been shocked back then. Because let's face it, I mean, people were a lot more, straight laced probably back then than they are now. But yeah, I think that's what makes it great. Is it is a very daring film for sure.
Yeah, I think another thing that really, really helps, and of course, another thing I'm biased about is I love black and white. I'm so glad this movie's black and white. The shadows, like especially at the end when they're all crawling around into the trailers.
Oh,
if that was done in color,
yeah.
all that would be just blown and ruined if the movie was shot in color. So I really, truly miss black and white. I wish we would get more of that these days.
Yeah, there's something to be said for black and white cinematography. It has a certain atmosphere, as you mentioned, the shadows, and you can just get such an atmospheric quality in a black and white film that's, I think, really challenging to try and reproduce that in a color film. I mean, some color films no doubt have done that over the decades, but there is something about black and white when you've got a really good cinematographer that really knows what he's doing and knows how to light everything, and it can be really fantastic. I think people who don't like black and white films because it's not color are really missing
You
a
can watch
whole
Schindler's
lot.
List.
They're
Well, yeah,
missing a
not
whole lot.
they
Yeah,
are,
Schindler's
and it's
List.
like
Yeah.
it's oh, dude, Schindler's List for sure. Like, and it hits you on a almost on a deep level. Like most people don't understand how like color gradients in a film affects how your mind processes it.
Yes.
Like you were saying with the stark contrast there, PvP, with like
Mhm.
how it wouldn't be the same if it was in color. Like it's
Well, there's something
and
about black and white that really focuses your attention too, whereas color can be very distracting. I mean, it's color can be like eye candy at times,
Well,
right?
right. Well,
Whereas
and with color, you don't have the mysterious shadows. It brings everything out in the light. There's no mystery anymore.
Well, I mean, I guess there are some films I've seen over the years that do a very good job of creating an atmosphere, but I
Well,
think it's
right, there are a few. There are a few.
but I
But
think
I
it's more
wanted to
challenging.
highlight. Yeah, I wanted to highlight and mention. I know I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. There is a modern filmmaker who is masterful with black and white, and that's Robert Eggers. And he directed the movie The Witch, and then he went on to The Lighthouse. and then he did most recently The Northman, and now he's working on he's actually working on a remake of Nosferatu now as we speak.
I think you mentioned that when we were doing the Nosferatu stream, right, Pop?
Right, and when he makes these movies, he uses the actual cameras of the day. So when we get our remake of Nosferatu, he's going to use those old time camera to film the movie. That's how accurate he wants it to be.
It's a good idea, really.
Now, my question for you guys is Bill Skarsgård, the guy who played the clown in the recent It movies. He's going to be playing the new Nosferatu. What do you guys think about that?
Well, he's knocking out of the park, is it?
I haven't seen the new It, so
terrible.
Yeah.
I don't want to that's my opinion. I know some of you guys might like the new It movies, but they're just not my bag of thing. I don't like flashy special effects. They don't scare me.
Well, from what I understand is the new It movies are closer to what the books actually were than the old It movies.
Well, the only difference
the old It movie was Tim Curry, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Tim Curry's hard to beat.
Dude, it really. I agree. Two different aspects though. Tim Curry is like a silly scary, whereas like Bill Skarsgård, it knocks it out of the park as Pennywise. Like he is hands down the only reason to watch that fucking movie. I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen the first one with the kids.
The second one's it's all right. I enjoyed it. If you like the first one, you'll like the second one. But that eye trick he does, where he moves his one eye independently, that's real. That's not trickery.
Right.
He can do that.
Right. No, I agree. I liked his performance. I just didn't like the movie itself because I don't like when they use the camera gimmicks like somebody running on the ceiling. I'm tired of seeing that. Or the the clown runs towards the camera and they just speed up the film. Gimmicks like that, it takes me out of the movie and it looks cheap in my opinion. It almost like they took it and tried to make it into a Nightmare on Elm Street with all the camera gimmicks and stuff like that. And it just, I don't know. But that's just my opinion. It wasn't.
No, that's a totally valid opinion, Pops.
Yeah, if they use a special effect in a gimmicky way that takes you out of the film, if it's totally noticeable, then that's just a bad choice on the director's part, really.
Right, it was very noticeable, and what he was doing was modern day cliches and gimmicks, which I'd rather see older things. Something that really gives you fear and dread. But it's like it's like when they're writing the movie, they're like, we don't have time for that. Show them some fancy special effect. Let's use CGI here and CGI there, and it's like no.
Yeah, they've forgotten about concepts like suspense.
Yeah, we need Alfred Hitchcock, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh man. Awesome. Yeah, he was. I can go on for not hours about Hitchcock, but one of my I've watched him since childhood.
Me too. Every one of his movies.
I was lucky enough once to see a double bill when they used to have those old cinemas that would show old films for like $5 when I was down in Vancouver going to college, and they had a double bill for $5 of Vertigo and Rear Window.
Oh man,
nice.
Fantastic!
I saw both of those in one night. Sitting there munching my popcorn in the dark, and it was just like,
how old were you?
I was in my 20s, and seeing those films on a big screen, back in the late 80s, it was just fabulous.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I was lucky enough as a kid to go with my parents to Universal Studios, and we got to do a behind the scenes of Alfred Hitchcock, and we got to see how they did Psycho and how they did North by Northwest and Vertigo and how they did all the shots, and it was cool. It's something that stuck out with me for a long time, like how they filmed the scenes with the birds, and it's just like, wow, oh my god.
Yeah, he made so many amazing films.
Oh yeah.
And DBB says Freaks was made in 1932. Just that fact alone, I can never give it an F. But hey, I haven't seen it yet, so maybe I'm wrong.
I'm just going to get some tea, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes, okay?
Go for it.
Sounds good.
DBB says, yeah, that's true, Pop. All opinions are opinions. Yes, they are. Yeah, anyway. Oh, as I was saying. So, Bill Skarsgård apparently is playing Count Orlok in the new Nosferatu, and they just announced last week that they hired Willem Dafoe to be in the movie. So I'm
Amazing.
I hope he plays Knock / Renfield. I think he would be the perfect choice for that. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I'm already sold with like Bill Skarsgård and William Dafoe being in the movie and Nosferatu. Like it sounds fantastic as it is. It's gonna be great.
I loved The Witch and The Northman. Like those are so good. I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet.
You need to watch
I saw The Lighthouse, but not The Northman. And the only thing that stopped me from seeing The Northman is Nicole Kidman.
Oh, dude, The Northman's thick. Dude, she's such a bitch, though. She gets what's coming to her, though. You won't mind. You should watch it.
Yeah.
You'll be like...
But the problem is that she's an old white lady with plastic surgery. So I know as soon as I lay eyes on her, it's going to take me out of the movie. That's the only reason why I haven't seen it. Her plastic surgery is extremely noticeable.
Yeah, well, she's not in it for a bunch of the movie. There's a bunch more to it than just Nicole Kidman. Give it a shot. Give it a shot, Bob. Some of the cinematography, some of it is just, yeah.
Well, yeah, but considering it's Robert Eggers. Yeah, considering it's Robert Eggers, I'm sure the cinematography and everything is fantastic. And I know Andre from Midnight Edge said, supposedly it's really faithful to the Nordic mythology, apparently. Hello, Herc 130. Good to see you, Herc 130. They can save a lot of money in makeup by casting Willem Dafoe. He just had to walk on set. Exactly right. Oh man, he's got to be the top character actor around right now. That is an actor. That's somebody with range, and you don't get that anymore in Hollywood. DVB says, "Yeah, I've been to Universal Studios at Special Effects Presentation 2, Nemesis of Eden. It was pretty cool." And DVB says, "Like I didn't know that in Psycho they used chocolate syrup for blood in the shower scene."
Dude, right? Everyone's like, "What?" And yeah, it's chocolate syrup.
Right. Whatever. Right. The only important is what showed up good on camera. So they used chocolate a lot for blood in the old days. Just like in the old. Go ahead.
I'm glad you got to experience that DVB. It was so cool. Like, I'm glad I was able to remember it because I was pretty young.
We watched all 4 Psycho movies there for my cinema Sundays there. It's actually pretty good.
Yep, they are.
The new one there, I was like they copied the movie, but then it just didn't have the same feeling to it.
Well, no, when it had what, Vincent D'Onofrio and Anne Heche or whatever.
Oh no. Like, well, really?
I think I got the actor's name wrong, but I know it was Anne Heche. I don't like her.
Well, the actors didn't bother me. It's just it didn't have the same feeling there, especially when they took, especially in the new one there, they took the movie off and the guys rubbing one out. It's like, I don't think he did that to rub one out. I was like,
no, right?
No,
right.
Yeah,
that's what what's stupid about that new movie is. That's a perfect example. That's what happens when you take Alfred Hitchcock out of the picture, right?
That is easily one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The most pointless remake ever.
Well, I don't know if that can go up there with that new Poltergeist remake. Have you guys seen how bad that was?
I haven't even seen the original.
Ooh, yeah. We'll be covering that on this stream here eventually. The original Poltergeist is definitely a classic. And DVB says, and because it was black and white, it worked for the effect. Yes, it did. DVB says, "Hail, Nemesis of Eden." I'm guessing with a thumbs up and a flame. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys are like, I'm old, but a perfect example of presentation in black and white of what looks good on film was the 1950s TV show Superman with George Reeves. There was a couple seasons that were in black and white, and then eventually it was color. But during the black and white seasons, his cape was brown because red did not show up right on camera.
You want a mind trip? Look up what the Addams family's house actually looks like.
Pink.
It's all pink and shit. It's crazy. There's shades chosen to look great in black and white, and it's all multicolors. It's fantastic.
Right.
It's so cute.
Yeah, well, it is. It's very cool, and you're right. It's all in pink. But I'm sure if you stepped into a house like that, you think it was just decorated by a little girl or something. That it looked great. It looked fantastic in black and white.
Yeah, it's weird sometimes how they have to they have to do things like that, isn't it, to get it to look just right.
Yep, exactly.
See, it's funny because like I grew up with not the it was called The New Addams Family, and it was in color, and it was made for like
Ooh.
no, it was actually really well done. It was really good. Like
You're
it's
talking about the TV show, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and it's like you want to see a good interpretation of what Wednesday Addams is supposed to be. Don't watch this new crap. Go back and watch the stuff from like the early 90s or sorry, late 90s, early 2000s. Like it doesn't it's a different adaptation on it, but it's still really good and really holds up. Like and it's great. Like you look at those sets and that's what I would imagine the Addams Family house to look like. Although as much as I still really enjoy hot pink for the Addams Family house.
Well, I do agree with you about the new Wednesday. It does suck. But
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
the new
no,
audiences, they want to see a little lesbian Wednesday and very little of the actual Addams Family, I guess.
Oh,
Boy.
Pop, speaking of Wednesday, did you know that there's a Scream 6 with the girl who plays Wednesday Adam in it?
Screen 6? I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with what you're talking about.
Scream.
Oh, Scream 6. Scream 6.
Yeah.
Oh, there's been a lot of promotion on Twitter for that. It's like they're flooding Twitter with advertisements.
Like, I remember the first Scream, and that was freaking awesome. And then I remember, like, Scream 4 with David Arquette when they brought him back, but, like, I don't know. Are we going to cover the Scream franchise when on here? Like, I don't know.
Well,
I
hadn't thought about it. I don't know. What's interesting is I'm a big fan of Wes Craven, but the Scream. The thing with me, I didn't like the meta where they explained everything, and I knew who the killer was at the beginning of the movie. So there was just no suspense for me, I guess you could say.
Okay.
It was like they took the horror genre and turned it into and made it for laughs. But I know it's popular. And I know a lot of people like it, so I do respect that.
That's fair. Are we? Because, like, I'll be honest, I'm not like I don't mind a slasher film, but it's not my go-to in the horror genre.
Well, same here. There's very few quote slasher movies that I enjoy. Like I like Halloween the original. I'm not a fan of Friday the 13th. And as we all know, back in the 80s, they made hundreds of slasher movies. The Mutilator, The Burning, this, that, all that stuff. So,
Honestly, I was looking and I was like, yeah, he bought one of those. I remember selling one of those. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of slasher films. I saw the first Friday the 13th in the theater with some friends, and they loved it, and I just thought it was kind of gross, gross and disgusting, really. So
the only thing the Friday the 13th movies are made for is because everybody can't wait to see how people die. It's just
it was just
right.
Like,
you want to see the over the top death.
Gore for the sake of gore, I thought, and it's just like, man, this isn't even interesting, much less entertaining.
Well, and there's zero horror in it. There's actually no horror or suspense, anything like that. It's just one death scene after another, I guess.
It seemed like it, yeah.
Right? Yeah, and like you want to talk like PvP, you want to talk about like gore for the sake of gore.
Sure.
Have you seen Terrifier 2?
No, I haven't watched. I mean, after Friday the 13th, I kind of avoided slasher flicks for the most part.
Dude, Terrifier 2.
Don't watch it, dude. Don't watch it.
Yeah,
it's not on my list. I've already got hundreds of things on my watch list, so that would be very, very low down on the watch list.
Man, it is the best gore I've ever seen, and that is saying something.
And I do have a guilty pleasure in gore movies, so I am a big fan of gore movies. I do have to admit that.
Pops, you should check out Terrifier 2 if you haven't.
Anybody?
I haven't. I haven't watched it yet.
If anybody considers themselves a gore fiend, you will not be disappointed by Terrifier 2.
Yeah, I've obtained it. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and I do plan on that.
Yeah. And hey, Pickles.
And DBB, wow, I had no idea about the color of the Addams Family house. Crazy, it was pink, LOL. And LDG, good to see you. My goodness, you're up late. Evening all, says LDG. Pre the net. Check out his
Good
channel,
evening.
everybody. DVB says evening
Hi,
LDG.
LDG.
Lemon Pie says hey LDG. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned it last week and I'm going to mention it again. When I put out the polls to let you guys vote on what movies we want to cover, if you'd like to suggest any movies, please put them in the comments. Because that way, if they're down in writing, I can't forget. Sometimes people during these streams will mention them verbally to me, but I don't always remember. So if I have it in writing somewhere, it'll help me remember and compile the list whenever I put out the suggestions.
I guess we could always tweet you on Twitter too, right? With suggestions.
Right. Here's the difference: is yes, you guys can Twitter tweet me or whatever it's called, but if you put it in the
right under
in the community tab in the poll, everybody will see it.
Okay.
And that's how I'll gauge the popularity. Like if somebody says, "Hey, you need to cover American Werewolf in London," and then a bunch of people respond, and then I was like, "I'll push."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes much more
push
sense.
It up.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what have you thought about what the next poll is going to be for the next horror stream, Pop?
Tremors. I vote Tremors.
It's funny because when I put the poll up, I've got too many names going through my mind.
Uh-oh.
And now I always draw a blank. Tremors
well,
is
and
good.
It's a little hard because like your average person is going to pick the lamest choice that you're going to throw up there. Like
the lamest choice is always going to win. So you should try to trick the people you're polling into choosing the one that you want. And honestly, it probably wouldn't be that hard.
Well, I threw a suggestion out there that very few people have ever seen the movie because most people didn't even know existed.
Are you talking about Loon Lake?
No, the Black Stork.
Oh, but it's right. When I looked, and I don't think you can find it. Can you?
Yeah, you can. It's on YouTube. Someone uploaded a copy.
Send it to me. Put it in the poll then, so I don't forget. Okay. When I put out the next poll for which movie, put that in the comments so I don't forget. And I'll look it up.
Does that have to be in English?
Not if I can get my hands on subtitles.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not really sure what movie next, but I'm always willing to entertain different ideas. Like I said, seriously, the other day when I put the poll up, I was thinking of 3 or 4 different titles, but it's hard to. I usually try to have a balance where there's like a classic in there, a modern day movie in there, kind of comedy horror in there, try to make it even around.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
Well, I was just gonna say, like today we covered a classic horror, so next week we'll probably do something a little more modern.
Go ahead, right, like I know I had mentioned, Pop, that we should probably wait for the Killer Clowns because it's coming out on PS5. But do we even know that it's definitively coming out later this year?
Well, when you messaged me the other day, I looked it up, and it's still slated for this year, but it doesn't say exactly when. I'm guessing maybe they're working the kinks out.
Okay, yeah, because I'm all for waiting. Like it's a fantastic movie. Like it's. Like I'm all for waiting for it. It's worth the wait. But yeah, I'll leave it in your hands.
Yeah, it is, and in fact, it's coming out for PS5 and for PC games, which I wish I had one of the. I don't have a PC good enough, and I don't have a PS5. But yes, I'm willing to cover the movie when the game comes out because I know there will be people out there who will be looking for that sort of thing.
Yeah,
DVD says I suggest. Yeah, it won't be long. It'll be. I'm hoping.
Here's what I'm guessing. Once the game comes out, there'll be a buzz about the game, which will probably carry over to, people wanting to check out the stream here. So that makes sense.
Well,
right?
and the makers of the original, the Chiodo brothers, they've been trying to get a 3D remake off the ground for several years.
Oh, really?
So I'm hoping if the game does well, then maybe we'll get a new 3D movie version of it. Because I'm sure that would look great for Killer Clowns. DBB says, I suggested John Wick movies only because I'm about to watch them myself before I watch John Wick 4. And DBB says, Tremors is a great classic film. Yeah, if I remember right, the first 1 or 2 were good. But it kind of went off the end there after the later sequels. When we start losing the main cast.
Are amazing. Like, it's funny because 1 is a horror movie. just like, to me, it's like Alien, right? Where Alien is a horror movie. It's a slasher in space, except the killer is an alien. And Tremors is a slasher in the desert, except the killer is giant underground worms. And then Aliens is an action film. And Tremors 2 is more of an action film. And both of them have horror elements in it.
Yes.
But it's like, and arguably, I don't know, I think I might like Tremors 2 more than Tremors. Like, it's funny, like, Tremors 2 had like such a little budget, and it just goes to show, like, once again, if you're smart about it, you don't have to have a lot of money to make a good movie.
Right. And
That's
Tremors
what's
was
missing,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
Tremors was good because it balanced humor with comedy. I mean, comedy with horror.
Yes.
So,
Well,
and
it's
that's
like-
not easy to do. Yeah. So they did it very, very good, very well.
Kind of like Evil
And it
Dead
had
2
Reba.
then. Yeah.
Evil Dead, American Werewolf in London, among others, right?
Mm.
Now,
Hey,
Pop, would you consider doing Loon Lake as for your horror streams?
If people can watch it. Well, the thing is that, by the way, you remember when I told you I sailed the high seas to find it? Remember that, Gorilla?
Yeah.
It took me like 4 or 5 months for it to download.
Oh, I
Because
had,
there's
I had no problem getting a hold of it.
Well, but it depends on what these people here on the panel, if they're
Well,
interested.
If I can see it, I'll have an interest. But if
Oh,
I
you're
right,
if I
that's-
haven't
it's
seen
right.
it, it's like there'd be no point, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
Gorilla can.
Just,
Do a watch party.
Gorilla has a few connections where he knows where to find these hard to
Maybe
find
Gorilla
movies.
could do a watch party.
Well, that's always a
Yeah,
thing.
Sorry, did one.
Yes, you
Oh,
did do one.
man.
Yeah, but no, Gorilla, you did a review where it was slides. We're talking about a watch party
No,
where
no,
we all
I-
watch it on
No, we actually watched it.
on Cosme.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I do have it now. I could host a watch party.
There you go.
And DBB says, love that flick. It is genuinely scary. Talking about Tremors. Scary and suspenseful. DBB
Dude,
says,
I
never
saw it
a
as a
sequel of
kid.
Tremors, but that movie is really, really good.
There's the private
I-
chat for you.
My buddy convinced me that Tremors were real, and as a kid, I thought for like a day or two that, like, yeah, it was. I was very gullible as a child, but yeah, it's it's man, that movie.
For those of you on the panel, Gorilla put a link in the private chat. If you want to check that out, there's a link to where if you want to see the Loon Lake movie. I highly recommend give it a try. Watch it. Let us know what you think.
Nice.
Just have a good ad blocker. Just have an ad blocker. That's all.
Or just use the browser Brave, Brave. You won't need ad blockers. It does it automatically, and plus you won't get commercials on YouTube.
So that's on 123 Movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched stuff on there. I've got a pretty good ad blocker. I haven't had any problems yet with it, so it seems to be a pretty good website.
Okay.
Hey,
all right.
I just
So go ahead.
Pop, have you done? I can't remember now. Have you done any John Carpenter movies on here yet?
Not yet. But
'Cause I
I'm
was just-
planning on it. But it's like, where
I
do you
was-
start? They're so
yeah.
good.
Well, I was just going to say my two nominations would be The Thing and Escape
Yeah.
from New York. If you're going to do John Carpenter, because
Oh,
I love
of
those
course.
films.
The
Well,
thing should be
absolutely.
like
Yeah,
our
like
100th episode celebration.
Yeah,
I love those
it's a
films.
master.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on The Thing and Escape from New York.
Yeah, I love Escape from New York, especially.
And of course, now they're talking about a gender swap sequel, which sounds like blasphemy.
No. When will it end? It never ends.
When they lose enough money, I'm guessing. I don't
Oh,
know.
we're just getting started, PvP.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Jeez.
I know.
There's
It's
the
like
They,
every
originality.
time
gotta ruin every franchise they could imagine, it seems.
That's their point. Well, they're not able to create new ones because they have no
Yeah.
talent.
Because they have no imaginations.
That.
Yep.
Oh man.
It's okay though, because like they can gender swap and race swap, and it's gonna fail and fail and fail time and time again, and everyone's gonna go back to the originals and be like, "Man, aren't these things awesome?" And like, it's gonna be dust in the wind, just like all the other crap that's
Yeah.
been forgotten.
Eventually it's got to pass eventually. Because I mean,
Right. What will happen
how
is
can they keep spending billions of dollars to have a tiny audience? You know.
well, even those audiences aren't showing up to actually pay for the movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like probably, most of the people that are fans of this stuff are on Twitter and they probably haven't been to a cinema in years.
Correct.
Oh yeah, and if they watch it, we just pirate it, right?
Well, that,
Even the
that
Yes,
fans.
yes.
yeah, exactly.
And DVB's laughing at Nemesis of Eden, and DVB says They Live. That's another good Carpenter movie.
Hmm. Yeah,
I came here to kick
quite a
ass
few.
and chew bubblegum, but I'm all out of bubblegum.
Classic
Oh.
line.
Yeah, it is. Rowdy Randy Piper. Rest in peace. But yes, I definitely put on cover. Oh, God, there's so many. I want to cover the John Carpenter movies. I want to cover the Hammer horror movies with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. I want to
Yeah.
cover the Universal movies. So
I'd
yeah, we
like-
definitely got a lot on the horizon we can still do.
The Roger Corman Poe films would be awesome too.
Yes, Roger Corman. Well, if you'll let me cover Death Race 2000, I'll do the other Roger Corman.
Oh
movie.
yeah, Death Race, sure.
The original, that is.
I haven't seen it so
I've
long
never
that I
seen
don't
it.
remember it, so I'd have to find it. And watch
I remember
again
seeing it at the
somewhere.
drive-in. I loved it.
My foreman, or my journeyman, I should say, was really like Death Race, and he was telling me about it, and it sounded interesting. Something about like throwing old people in front of cars to get more points and shit.
Well, old people and babies were the highest points.
Nice.
David
Right.
David Carradine. You can't go wrong with David Carradine.
And Sylvester
David
Stallone is the
Carradine's
bad
cool.
guy, right? Stallone was the bad guy. It was before he did Rocky.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd watch it for sure.
Yeah, I'd like
And
to
I'd-
I'd like to watch it. Yeah.
Maybe I'll put that on the poll for next. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Sure. Hopefully, I can find it online here somewhere because I don't.
Or if
have it
not,
on
let me know.
DVD.
I'll do a watch party, but it should be out there.
Wait, what's the
that-
movie?
Oh, PvP, I'll find it and I will directly send you the link. Are you hooked up to download torrents?
Hey,
might-
what's the movie?
No,
Well,
I
if
don't
you-
have any. I don't have any torrent software on my computer.
I might even be able to just send it to you in a Dropbox.
It's
Yeah.
probably on that 123 movie link that Gorilla sent in the
What's the
Oh
movie?
yeah, I could check
What-
that out. Yeah.
What's the
'cause
movie?
Death Race
Death Race
2000.
2000. Yeah, I'll check 1, 2, 3 movies after we get off of here, guys, because it seems like there's just tons of stuff on there.
If you have any trouble finding it, just put it out, just tweet it out, just be like, hey guys, I'm having trouble. Just tweet it out to the world. Hey guys, I'm having trouble finding this movie, and one of us will just
Okay.
I'll bloody well get it to you.
Hey,
We'll
We'll
Scott,
help you out, bud.
Or
Yeah.
here, just click
I'm-
this link.
There you
Hey,
go.
Gorilla knows what's up. Gorilla
Hey,
knows
Gorilla.
what's up.
Skrilla, do you have a link to every movie ever made?
No, I'm still looking for. They went that away, and Shiloh too.
Okay, there you go.
What was the second one?
Shiloh
Shiloh
2?
Is
What?
that about the
Really?
dog?
You can't find Shiloh 2?
No, I
Son of a bitch, what a tragedy.
even
Oh,
even
dude.
the person I go to for stuff I can't find couldn't find it.
I remember having that on like VHS.
Shiloh 2, Electric Boogaloo. And
Yeah.
they went this
Yeah,
way and
that's
that way. I have on my server.
Wow.
Yeah, they went that way and that way. It's starring the great Chuck McCann. I'm a big fan of him. He passed
Yeah, it was
away
Tim
I think about
Conway,
a
I
year and a
thought.
half ago, I think. Both
But-
of them, Tim Conway and Chuck McCann. Chuck McCann was the fat guy. Tim Conway was the little guy, right?
Okay.
Chuck McCann
So
was a big,
pop.
big, huge fan of Laurel and Hardy. So a lot of the movies he played, where he played the Oliver Hardy character, was usually somebody skinnier and smaller.
Oh god damn, Tim Conway's a funny dude. Holy shit.
Oh yes, very, very,
No,
very
Tim
very
Conway and
underrated.
Don Knotts, that's the
Yes.
team right there. That's the A team.
Right, that's the what was it? The spy movies they made. Remember?
There was the Apple Dumpling Gang, wasn't
Apple
that
Dumpling
them?
Game. Yes, the Apple Dumpling Game for Disney. But they also made some comedy that was like Sherlock Holmes and Watson movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember that one. It was dark.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm gonna scrape my brand new. Well, it's not new. I'm gonna scrape my door on a fence trying to pull tight into my yard. Better be careful.
Careful,
I'll
careful.
see.
He's new to his
close.
vehicle.
Uh,
Yeah,
Close. I did it with my car twice.
Gotta watch out. Those fences tend to jump out in front of you.
trying to take that corner super tight, and you catch the wheel well on the corner of the.
Ouch.
Oh, also a reminder too, and everybody, is it, when you want to suggest a movie or you come up with a title, it doesn't have to just be in my community tab. Every time I do a stream like tonight, after we end the stream, you can always put it in the comments down below. So like tomorrow, the next day, you come up with an idea, come back to this video, and you can also put it in the comments down below there.
Okay. Hey, I just thought of a movie that I'd love to do here would be the 1950s giant ant movie called Them.
Them.
Yes.
I love that film so much. It's so awesome.
Well, unfortunately, they're making a remake, so let's hope that doesn't come to pass.
But that would be
Once
one I'd
again-
add to the list.
Yeah, definitely. We have very similar taste, PvP.
That's cool.
Same here. I love them. And
Oh, it's so
Tarantula.
It's so
Tarantula.
Good. Yeah, Tarantula's good.
On the Amazing
never
Colossal
seen
Man.
There's something special about them, though.
Ooh.
The special
Yeah.
effects are just so well done for their time, and it's
With
got a
Guy
great
Gordon.
cast. Such a great cast too.
It does. It does. Them is a
And-
great movie.
And once again, black and white, atmospheric. It's just a gem. It really is.
Right, and that movie once again it introduced a strong woman, and it not
Yes.
overbearing, not bitchy.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
practical effects, everybody. No CGI.
The practical effects of the ants, I still think they look great today.
And that
Yeah.
sound effect of the ants of them communicating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's a great film. I love that film.
There's like if I could think, there's like just countless movies, and we haven't even barely scratched the surface yet.
There's so many. That's the
So great,
trouble.
so
We could be here for like 100 years doing this if we had
Thank goodness,
lived
right?
that long.
Yeah, but there'll always be something entertaining for us to look forward to next.
Yep. Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so maybe I'll do that if it's okay with you guys. I'll put it. I've got to actually add 2 titles to next week's because I need to pull Freaks off. There's only 4 titles on the poll, and I got to remove Freaks because we just watched it, and I've got to remove Killer Clowns until later this year. That leaves 2 slots open. So I'll put Death Race 2000, and then we'll try to come up with something else to balance out the other ones.
Spoon Lake.
Well, Gorilla, they have to see it first to see if they want to vote for it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I've got to put titles that hopefully everyone has seen or that they're available, that they can see it in order to vote for it. Because if they haven't seen it, they probably won't vote for it. That's the only reason why. Okay.
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's something everybody's familiar with. Because
Well,
if
that's
you're
the trouble.
not,
If you put something too esoteric on that even some of us haven't seen, it's going to be like, well, who's going to actually show up for the
Right,
poll
people
or
that-
the stream, right?
right, they
You know.
won't show up if they haven't seen it, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you got to know why you're here to participate, right? So
Yeah, because I've got a lot of obscure movies I'd love to put up here, but I know you guys will be like, "What? Who?" And if it was up to me, I'd be showing the Microwave Massacre tonight, but everybody's like, "What? Who? What?"
Well, you've got me intrigued
Yeah.
about that one, I must say.
Yeah, the microwave.
I wouldn't
master.
mind seeing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the title
I'm like,
alone.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah,
you're
totally.
fucking drinking for that. Make sure
Yep.
you're-
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
milk
that's
my
it.
weed. It'll be fine.
Yes, I do recommend imbibing for that one. That does make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to thank everybody in the chat who came. Believe me, you guys made this such a blast and a wonderful time, and I really do appreciate it. And of course, Nemesis of Eden was the first one here. And thank you, Nemesis of Eden, for dropping by and joining the panel. Same with you, Gorilla. Thank you for coming and saying hello and sharing your time with us. Olga, Greg, and Captain Finity, so good to see you. And Lemon Pie was here. Thank you, Lemon Pie. And I want to try to. I hope I mention everybody. If I don't mention you, please say so. And I know we also got a bot there that was kind of a pain. Mad Scientist was here. I know Herc 130 was here. Sean Carter was here. Good old Sean Carter. He has an excellent channel. Check him out. He does some excellent model builds. Right now he's doing some of the.
He gets the little lights in there and everything. It's cool.
Yeah, right. That Enterprise that he just made with the warp engine, the cells lighting up is fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I had one. Hint, hint. No, I don't expect that free. He sounds like a very busy man, and he's got a long list he's making for other people. I know what he's doing now. I think it's for Mexican Iron Man.
Well,
Cool.
Pop,
DBB was here.
yeah.
Yes.
I can only stretch my winnings so far.
Right. And you've got mouths to feed besides your own. You've got kids and everything, so it's totally understandable. DBB, Ola Greg, let's see, I mentioned everybody. I hope I did. Herc 130. LDG, stop by. Thank you, LDG. So good to see you. I know it's late for you. And most of all, I want to thank everybody who is here on the panel. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, thank you for being here. Skogly. Gorilla, tell us about your channel really quick while we're here.
Well, let's see. We got our last Stranger Things tomorrow that we're doing for a watch party. Then we're going on to Time Cops. On Thursday Friday, we're reviewing the Waltons episode, The Minstrel, or whatever.
Minstrel, MINSTREL, Minstrel.
Menstrual?
Yes. Right, not MENSTRUAL. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that one would have made the Waltons.
Yeah.
Poor Mary Ellen.
Babylon 5 on Saturday, Matrix 3 on Sunday. Then I'm probably going to pump out a bunch of shorts here. Just as long as I don't get some person commenting a bunch of chat GTP in my comments again.
Oh, God. Yeah, by the way, everybody, I recommend. He makes a lot of shorts, and they're hilarious and very interesting. So, yeah, do check them out. Skogly, what say you about your channel?
Oh, I've got a channel. It's called Skogly Jotun. I do a show on Saturdays. I usually start it. I'm trying to be regular, but you can expect it on Saturday about 1 o'clock Central, where I just fire up my digital audio workstation and I write a piece of music in about 3 hours, and then I produce it and mix it and bounce it down, and you get to see that process. And I just kind of sit down without anything in mind, and I just see what happens and just pluck something out of the ether. And sometimes it turns out really cool.
Nice. And I saw your short where you have a new brand name coming up.
Oh yeah. I have I started a gaming channel a while ago, and I just haven't been using it. And then I've been running into stuff that just doesn't really fit my main channel. So I've rebranded my gaming channel to Skogly Media. So check that out as well. Sub that up. I'll be putting lots of stuff over there as well, and we'll see which one takes off faster.
Yeah. Well, you're a Midwestern boy too, huh?
What's that? Sorry.
You're a Midwestern too, huh?
I live in Calgary, Alberta.
You're a Canadian.
Right. Yeah. So I'm comparable to somebody from Montana. Yeah. So if you want to find an American that's most like me, look in Montana.
I couldn't tell if they put A at the end of every sentence.
That's more of a newfie thing. It's more of a newfie thing, eh? I do it too, but yeah, that's a newfie thing. Newfoundland.
PBB, tell us what you've been up to.
Working, cleaning the kitchen. Other than that, I've been doing some albums lately. I haven't posted them in public yet because I just want to get it right before I put up some new album streams. But
you got a lot of music. You got a lot of music information on your channel.
Yeah, I got.
But tell us about how we just got your streaming working, and you're going to be having your own stream soon.
Yeah, well, it was yourself, Pop, and LDG, if I'm getting his name correct.
Yep, LDG.
All these initial names, I get confused. But it looks like it's going to work. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's going to go well. So one of these days, I'm not sure when it'll be, but hopefully sometime in the next few weeks, try an initial live stream. I'm not sure what the heck it's going to be about. If anything in particular, it might just be a general, open chat sort of thing. So
exactly right.
Yeah. So actually, Pop, maybe we could get together one of these evenings sometime later this week, when we both have time when we're finished our work week, and we could maybe discuss a little bit about how to set it up and maybe fine tune it a bit, because I'm not really sure where it's going to go at this point. But
absolutely, yes, I'll be here for that.
It was great. I really appreciate you two guys helping me out last night. It was really awesome, and it was such a relief to finally get it to the point where it seems like it's actually going to work now.
It is, yeah. Like I said, like I told you, if anybody could figure it out, it's LDG. And as you saw, he's fast. I mean, he didn't know that. He knew exactly what to do.
He was a genius, and it was like at the end when he did the thing where you had to like do the 24-hour notice or whatever. It was like, yeah, duh. Why didn't I think of that? Because I remembered like, I checked into that like 2 months ago and I'd totally forgotten about it, of course. So
Well, don't we all? I do the same thing.
yeah.
And Nimbus Sabine, what say you about your channel?
Okay, so I do a gaming channel. I'm also kind of thinking about expanding. I'm going to be doing cannabis reviews. I'm going to be doing.
Ooh, I'll be there for
Cool.
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I figured it's.
I like my
it's niche.
sativa. Yeah.
Ooh, really? I just I smoked 2 sativas. So chat about it after.
Oh, I used to grow. I had 100 plants at one point.
Wow.
Dude, yeah, we're gonna talk.
I had a blue dream plant that was over 6 feet tall.
Living dangerously there, Pop.
Well, California.
Dude, that's awesome.
100 plants.
Yep.
Wow.
I had a grow room. I had a greenhouse. I had the whole bit.
Jeez.
Anyway, enough about me. Go ahead, Scogli. I mean, Nemesis. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good, Pop. No worries. Yeah, no. So I'm going to be doing lots of streaming. I do some fighting games. I do strategy games. I've been playing Elden Ring. When the new Elden Ring DLC comes out, I'll be playing a lot of that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then there's the cannabis, and then I also have some thoughts about starting. Well, I want to watch all the Godzilla movies, and I kind of want to start my own stream about doing that. So.
Ooh.
In the future, that might be a thing.
It would be, and I would be there for that too. I'm a big Godzilla fan.
Oh, I will definitely have you there, Pops.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Good to see you, Nemesis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it has, but thanks to you guys for being here. You guys are what makes this so enjoyable. Without you guys, I would just be up here blabbering on my own, and I don't have much to say when there's nobody else to talk to.
Yeah, your streams are always fun. Like it's it's like you get up Monday, you got to go to work, and it's like, oh crap. But then come home and there's like your the fun streams on Mondays, like with the Lost in Space starting next week, and then the stream on Tuesday here with the horror sci-fi movies, and it's just great because it gives you something to look forward to at the end of the day, right? So and it's always fun. Like everybody on here is always great, and everybody's got interesting thoughts on stuff, and I love these streams, man.
Thank you. Yes, and I totally agree. And I'm really, really lucky to have you guys here because you guys really bring a lot to the channel. Lemon Pie says, I'm subbed with vibrating bell PvP for when it happens. So Lemon Pie, you got a new sub there, but Lemon Pie PvP, you have a new sub there, Lemon Pie.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
And Lemon Pie says, Nemesis clap. Applause.
Hi, Lemon.
Applause.
Hi, Lemon.
Oh, Lemon's amazing. Lemon the all-star.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. Yes.
And Lemon's good. He keeps the eggnog joke going, too, which I appreciate.
Yes, and that does sound delicious. Do you still have some left?
I've got four eggnog bottles of eggnog in the freezer still.
Ooh,
which
yeah, you got a big freezer.
They're going to stay there for a while. Well, they're not huge. They're like 1.5 liters each, but
Gotcha.
yeah, they're going to stay there for a while because I kind of eggnogged myself out there about a month ago.
I already told you the best place for eggnog.
Yeah, I know your opinion, Gorilla.
Gorilla's not a fan. Yeah,
I give Gorilla's opinion an F.
No, with Gorilla, it's a default F.
Well, that's kind of a compliment for Gorilla, though, right? So.
Okay, so I wanted to thank everybody in the chat so much. Thank you. I know we're going on right about 3 hours, which is nice for a 1-hour movie. And most of all important, and most thank you to you guys on the panel. And like I said, I'll have that pulled out probably tomorrow evening when I get off work. Please vote and put any suggestions either in the poll or, like I said, you can put them down in the chat of this video once it's posted on YouTube. And I really appreciate it, you guys. And thank you for spending time with me. It was so fun. It's the highlight of my week. This is my favorite stream out of all of them.
Oh, sure, Frank.
Yeah, man. Me too. Like I
love Gilligan's Island. Oh no, I love Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. But that falls in a different class. Gilligan's Island falls in a different class. That's comedy.
Is not your Monday stream with Jill watching Lost in Space going to be your favorite, Pop?
Oh, possibly will be.
Can't leave Jill out.
Well, you got to remember
It'll be
right
a
now.
solid contender.
Well, and keep in mind right now, my fingers are crossed that she'll like it. I hope she does.
Oh, I think, well, the first part of especially the first part of season 1 is pretty solid. So, it kind of
Well,
meanders,
well,
as it goes
right,
along.
it's how much she's willing to suspend disbelief because it's not exactly
Uh,
Star
Well,
Trek, right?
that first episode is pretty
that,
solid, though.
it reminds me of when Jill and Scotty started watching Quantum Leap, getting into it like it was going to be this like hard sci-fi. They're like, this is like touched by an angel. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
my parents loved this show. And like I said, I wasn't allowed to watch movies in the 80s because they're religious extremists.
Oh, my mom used to watch Touched by an Angel all the time.
Oh,
My mom and dad loved Quantum Leap, so that
Well, and that means I must be your mom and dad's age because I like Quantum Leap too. I didn't like Touched by an Angel, but I like Quantum Leap.
actually, Quantum
Yeah.
Leap surprised me because
it's a cool
believe it
show.
or not, I'd never actually watched it back when it was originally on. So, I mean, when Scotty and Jill were still doing it before they started doing, Picard, I would, join in, watch the episode, join in when I could, and had a great time because actually,
Yeah,
the episodes.
not much of a sci-fi.
Well, no, it's not
Yeah.
sci-fi. It's more of a fantasy, really.
Fantasy.
But I
yeah.
like the way they work the historical timelines into it. When he jumps to a different, historical moment, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to when they resume that. In a month and a half or whenever it'll be, I guess.
Okay. Yeah,
Hi,
I
Sean.
totally
Good
agree.
to have you back.
Yep. And Sean, glad to see you back again to say hello before we end. We're about wrapping this up now, and Sean says back again. I had to close the store. Whoa, he's working late tonight. Sean Carter, I was telling everybody about those fantastic models you're making. So, everybody, please check out Sean Carter's channel. Sean, if you can put a link in the chat there if you'd like. I don't if you're a wrench. If you're not a wrench, I'll make you a wrench. Let's see here. Let me check and see if Sean's a wrench. And if not, I'm going to make him one right now. As like I said.
You need to make Nemesis a wrench too.
Thank you.
Add as a managing moderator, standard moderator. Okay. Sean now has a wrench. Now, who else do I need to add?
Nemesis.
Nemesis, can you say hello in the chat somewhere so I can add you as a wrench?
Oh, I most certainly can. Give me one.
Thank you.
Damn.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, and for the rest of you out there, if you're in the chat, Lemon Pie, the rest of you guys, if you have a wrench, please feel free to put links to your channels in the chat and share it with all of us. I love it when everybody shares their channels. You guys have so much entertaining content. And also Captain Infinity, too. Jill was telling me that I could set my Stream Elements bot to automatically post links, and I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a course, I think.
Yeah, well,
It's not that hard.
Joe would know.
Yeah, I figure not. Watch a
She's a
YouTube
computer
video.
wizard, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
that's
a
what Jill.
software programmer, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So she would know all about that stuff.
And of
I'm
course, my
gonna post
Stream
my
I
link.
need
Elements
to
bot.
chat.
There you go, Sean. And my pleasure, Sean. There it is. Right. So, yeah, if you can put your link up there now, Sean, I appreciate it. PvP put his link in there, so
Yeah,
that's
hopefully
good.
hopefully that worked.
Nemesis says, I'm here. Well, there you are, Nemesis. Let me make you that wrench.
Sick.
Yay!
There, Nemesis,
I
you
don't
should
want
now
it.
be a wrench on the channel.
Nemesis knows how to use his wrench.
All
do.
right. And I do trust Nemesis, so yeah, absolutely. Oops, I
He's
think
a
I put the
valuable
wrong link.
wrench.
Thank you.
Let's see here. If I put this here, and I'm going to try this one. And I also need to reprogram my Stream Elements bot to add all of you guys.
Now it seems like Stream Elements is posting channels now. I see.
Yeah, it seems to be off and on, but I'm going to go in, I think maybe tomorrow after I get off work, and figure out how to set it to an automatic timer like Jill was saying.
Ah,
I didn't know about that till earlier today, so that's great that you can do that.
that's cool.
Okay, so Nemesis, did you get a chance to post your channel link in there?
No, I did not. I'm on my phone, so I'm scared if I throw it up
okay.
there, I'm gonna have to leave.
No,
the
that's
screen.
okay. I didn't want to leave you out. But next time you get an opportunity, you're please welcome to share it.
Scogly. Did you got my back? Or it's Lemon. Anyone, thank you so much. Lemon the All-Star, like I said.
Well, and
Lemon's
I promise,
amazing.
right, and I promise, as being the host, and because I appreciate you guys being here so much, I'm going to add your channels to my Stream Elements list so I can post also automatically as well all your channels. So you
I
shouldn't have to do it
appreciate it, Bob.
yourself, pretty much. Okay, so Lemon Pie says I'll do it. Let me show that. There, Lemon Pie says I'll do it. Good. I hope Lemon Pie's already a moderator. I think I pretty much made almost everybody here a moderator at some point. Nemesis Games, and we'll be adding other things soon. There we go. Thank you, Lemon Pie. And there's the link. So yes, please check out that link there for Nemesis to be a fantastic channel.
Oh, thank you, Lemon, and thank you, Pop.
Oh, glad to. Like I said, I love you guys, and I'm glad you're here. This is fantastic. And Gorilla, I'm glad you were able to join us. I know you're not a big horror fan, but I'm glad you were here. And we have a visitor. Hello, hello, Sean Carter.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
Sean.
Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean. If I give you a biggie layout, can we see what you're working on, or are we giving
Yeah.
away secrets?
No. I was going to share it with y'all. So I'm going to move the.
Whoa! Look at that.
Wait, what's that?
No, I'm just admiring your work. My God, you got the jelly bean console and everything. The buttons, I love it.
Well, check this out. Okay, so this here, don't tell anyone, but this is for Mexican Iron Man.
Wow.
So check, but this is the display stand for the Enterprise. So I don't have the Enterprise wired, but she's right here.
How sweet.
That's
cool.
awesome, dude.
She's right there, but check this out. So when I plug it in, let me get this there, and there we go.
Fantastic.
It's all blinking.
Man, yeah. Yeah, Mexican Iron Man's going to love that. I'm jealous. That looks fantastic, seriously.
Thanks. Yeah, so
Dude, that's sweet.
there's the power switch,
Rocker switches.
and this one here will light up the ship.
Wow, screw you,
Oh,
the cars. No offense.
Just
kidding. Just kidding. I prefer the aesthetic of TOS over the new Star Trek any day, but that's just my
Oh,
opinion.
totally.
I do too.
Yeah,
So
there's
here,
I
something,
love it.
something timeless about TOS. It just holds up. I mean, look at this show. It's been, what, 55, 56 years this show's been going now with us fans.
yeah.
And there's still new fans every year that hopefully are going back to the real Star Trek where it all started.
Yeah,
It is. It's incredible.
Get the chip wired up here.
You know what? And unlike the modern Trek, 50 years from now, people will still be talking about classic Trek. It's the only one that's going to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. DS9 is pretty awesome.
Oh, I'm talking about the new Kurtzman, bad reboot, and all that garbage.
Oh, New Trek versus Old Trek. Oh, good. No one's gonna remember New Trek. Oh,
No,
God.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. It won't
God.
last at all.
Nope.
St. Michael.
Not even JJ Trek.
Especially not JJ Trek.
Well, you know what's
That
funny?
man. Go ahead.
If it would have stuck with the 3 movies, I think I could have been on board with them. They were tolerable, at least, before Kurtzman started abusing it. At least they were trying to have fun. But,
Well, I do admit that what Kurtzman did was even worse than what J.J. Abrams did. I do admit
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I think the actors were, in JJ, were trying at least to do their part.
It's sad, too, because the guy who played Chuck was actually my favorite out of the whole cast. So
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
tragic
that
what
was-
happened to him.
That was really tragic when he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was young,
Chekhov,
poor guy.
Yeah, Anton Yeltsin.
Anton Yeltsin, yeah, it was sad.
Yeah. His career was just taking off too. It's just really
Yeah.
tragic.
Wow, look at those nacelles.
Cool.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
I
beauty.
see a
Nice.
shot of this in the dark, and it's
Oh,
spectacular.
wow. That is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
got
think I have it hanging up in my bedroom right now.
Ah,
Yes.
it's so cool. That is
Yeah,
so
this-
fucking cool.
This is the part. This is not canon, but I think it works. I like it.
I like it too, yes.
There you
It's
go.
cool.
And I liked your video where you were talking about masking the inside where the lights are rather than some people cutting out the holes. That's so smart.
Yeah, I learned that from this guy named Boyd. He has a channel called Trekworks, which is he's kind of like my inspiration, and he's really cool. He actually went in and made a comment on one of my videos. He's a cool dude. So,
Very cool. I think I've seen his channel.
yeah, it's really nice. Oh, here's another little one. Speaking of,
Ooh, sweet.
wait, hold on. I got that lit up too.
Oh yeah,
Is that from Enterprise? Which one is that?
Yeah,
that's the
this is the NX-01.
Okay, gotcha. Yes.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, sweet.
Wallace.
Now, did you do those lights as well, or did that come in there?
Yeah, I did them. This was hard because it's such a small model. You can see it's like fits in the palm of my hand here.
Yeah, very good.
Wow.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely talent.
Yeah, that one took a while. I got tons of stuff here. They'll give you a little tour. There's the Defiant.
Awesome.
There's your magician's toy shop.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Transformers. I had R2,
Of course.
Megatron, Boba Fett. And then over here, we've got you guys have seen these on the channel video I did. There's Voyager, another 1701.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Okay, the Enterprise E.
That's the E, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but Galactica.
Galactica. Wow, Battlestar Galactica fan. Yes.
Yeah, that one doesn't light up though, but that was a fun model. So, yeah, a little tour.
No
But don't-
Jupiter 2?
Oh no, not yet.
Just kidding.
I want to do one. I also want to do the Discovery from 2001. That's a cool kit.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh,
I know.
wow. Yeah.
I know Polar Lights had a Jupiter 2 out there. I don't know if it still exists or not.
Yeah, I think the Trekworks guy did it.
You could
Oh,
probably
wow.
find the Polar Lights kits on eBay still. I would imagine. I think there's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
still some out there.
Oh, yeah. If they're not being manufactured, you'll find it, but I'm sure you're going to be paying for it, right?
Yeah, you could be. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, there's another one I got. I'm all walking around.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
Where is it? I put a post on my channel. Oh, here it is. I found this for $25 on eBay.
Wow. Serious?
Nice.
Yeah. This is and it's huge. It's this huge kit.
Wow.
I didn't even know they made them. So
I didn't know that either. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. Oh, wait, hold on. More. You know who you got to have on is Herc.
Herc 130?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was here in the chat tonight.
there you go.
Wow. Look, Mark D with the C is another one that's got a whole bunch of sweet toys, and so does Captain Infinity.
Can you read that?
Look at that. Maverick.
Yeah, it's his F-14.
Oh, man,
Yeah, but-
that's so sweet. Very nice.
Yeah, Mark D has a bunch, but Herc has an entire garage full. I got to talk to that guy, and I bought 5 of these.
5 of those. Wow, sweet.
This is my
Man-
favorite.
Yep, a man and his toys.
Yeah, the Enterprise C is my favorite ship. And then
Oh,
down
it is?
here,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
oh yeah, Enterprise
Yeah,
C.
the Enterprise C is fucking sick.
I like it
Absolutely.
because it's got the nacelles of the D, and the saucer is kind of looking like the Enterprise D, but the main hull looks like the Enterprise A.
True. That's true.
It's like a perfect midway between the old and the new.
Absolutely.
It was a cool episode too.
Lemon Pie says, I'll do it. Lemon Pie says,
Absolutely.
Nemesis games, and we'll be adding other things. There's that link for Nemesis.
It's one of my
Steve
favorite
Jobs
TNG episodes.
And Lemon Pie
What,
says, sweet. Yes, I agree, Lemon Pie. You make me want to go back to collecting too. If I had the room.
Yeah.
Beautiful work, Sean. That is fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm anxious to get this to. I'm going to try to mail this out to Mike this weekend. I just got to finish some wiring and mount it, box it up, and send it out to him.
Okay, but he needs to do an unboxing video. We want to see the look on his face when he sees it.
I hope so. I want to see him do that too. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to pack it so he can
Yeah,
do
tell
that.
him it's a requirement. Say there's got to be an unboxing video. We got to see your reaction.
Yeah.
He's a Mexican Iron Man is a great guy. He is so hilarious and smart.
Oh yeah. And here's why I get it. So I met him in Dallas. There was a thing called the Retro Palooza
Oh, nice.
a few months ago, and we had just moved out here to Texas, and it was up in Dallas. And he goes, "Hey, if anyone's going to come up there, he wants to come up and say hi, let me know." And I did, and so my wife and I went and met him, hung out with him for half the day. He's a great guy, and he gave me this thing.
Wow, very cool.
Can you see it?
Yeah, he's got quite a following there and some nice toys in part of his collection as well.
Yeah.
That is nice.
So it's he said he only had like 100 of these made, and it has a Doomcock's helmet here, and the other one is Midnight's Edge, I think, and that's kind of like how he got his. I'm sorry about the light. Let me get my head in.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I remember Mexican Iron Man when he first started. Yes, I remember. Before he was even on the panels, he was in the chat, and he was sending like videos to Doomcock of Disneyland behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was doing that little spy. Oh, he went to the studio in Burbank or something.
Yeah, it was like spy videos right in the background.
Yeah, he's
But says Herc goes on panels. Is that right? Herc goes on panels, Sean?
Who, Herc?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I haven't seen him on a panel. Oh no, yeah, he was on Cardinal Sin's Saturday show this last weekend.
Oh well, then we need to try to coax him into coming up on our panel one of these days.
You should. I asked him to email me because like he showed me his garage. It was like from ceiling to floor.
Oh.
Bottles and stuff. I'm like, dude, we got to talk, man. I got to get some pointers from him because I'm just learning this stuff. You know, I'm not all that good.
Well, you wouldn't know that by looking at it. Seriously, it looks very professional.
Oh, thank you. I want to get. I think it's just because I like doing it so much. You know, when you like doing something, you tend to get good at it. But,
oh yes, and it definitely shows. Your love for it definitely shows. And thank you, by the way, for sharing that with us. That's very, very cool.
Thanks for letting me in. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Anytime, you're welcome.
So, you know what I got to do? I got to start watching these movies you're reviewing because I love listening to your show, but I've never been a big classic horror guy. So I wish I could vote. Like you put the polls on, I don't know what I'm voting.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. If people haven't seen them, it's kind of hard to choose.
Yeah, but you know, I just like listening to it.
Now, do you mean you're not familiar with horror in general, or just the older stuff?
In general, kind of like. I mean, of course, I know like modern stuff just from it's in the vernacular, but
right.
But yeah, classic stuff, not so much.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Gorilla here on the chat is the same way. He's not really into like over the top gore and certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be covering Lost in Space starting Monday. If you're into that thing, if you'd like to join us,
I would. Where can I stream that? Is it on?
Where can you stream?
Amazon?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Where can you stream? You're talking the original Lost in Space, right?
Right. Starting with the first episode, The Reluctant Stowaway.
Okay. Where can I stream it from?
I'm currently streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
No.
Where can I watch it? Is Lost in Space streaming anywhere? I'm checking and seeing if it's. I'm seeing if it's on Prime right now.
Which site? Gorilla.
I usually just pirate stuff personally.
Yeah, same here. But Gorilla, if you're not into that, Gorilla, there's in the private chat, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Gorilla put some links to a website called 123 Movies, and you can probably find them on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you click private chat. The Lost in Space, the original series from 1960s, Gorilla. Where did you find it?
Soap Today. I'll get it here just a sec.
Thank you, Gorilla. Right, that's right, because he said it was not on 123 Movies, but he found it on another website.
Okay. Yeah, those I can watch. What do you guys think of the new one? Did you watch the new one?
Not a fan.
Did you watch it, or were you just not?
I watched the whole first season and about half of the second season.
I finished it and I was moderately entertained. I thought it was okay. but I watched it because I haven't seen the original, so I wasn't tainted by that, or I didn't go into it with a hey, this isn't originally Lost in Space.
Right. Yeah, I know there's a big fan following who likes the new one. That's fine.
Yeah, it did no harm. Like it was okay. It was a cool story. It was a strong family unit, a strong father. Strong. He wasn't a dummy. They didn't stomp on him. He solved a lot. Everyone in the family solved problems, and so I mean, it kind of sucks that we have to say, "Oh, that's how we measure something now by how unwoke it is."
Not
It actually
sad.
sounds a lot like the original then, because the original was a lot like that too. Actually,
Well, the female characters are different in the new one. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, they're
I
very.
thought it, a little hard to believe that you have a 12-year-old girl who's a fantastic scientist, a physician, surgeon, and everything else. It's like, nah. Another Mary Sue who's a genius. That's too. I'm just kind of not. I don't like that anymore.
She was.
Bill and Tony.
Very smart.
Build an
She
Iron
was a-
Man like tech in their backyard, in their garage, just a teenager. Like, fuck,
Yeah.
come on,
I'll say
no
this, though.
resources at all. Like,
I'll say this though. Yeah, she was a Mary Sue, but she screwed up a lot too. Like they had to bail her out quite a few times in the show.
Well, I can tell you the last episode I watched that made me not watch it again, and that was where they had all the men looking like fools. They were driving. I think they had Will down in the chariot, crashing it back and forth in the bottom of the ship. They had Don West chasing around a chicken, and they emasculated the father, and the girls were on top of the ship treating it like a sailboat, saving the day. And that was the episode where I tuned out and said, no.
Yeah, I stuck to. There was a couple of that, but it was okay. Like I said, it did no harm. I wouldn't go back and watch it again. So
That's fine. No, that's totally fine.
It is what it is. I'm not a fan. I just like that. Okay. I was I was interested in it enough to finish it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I respect everyone's opinions. I know a lot of people do like it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
What was there, 3 seasons?
3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Oh, no. You go. I'm sorry.
No, you were going to say it ends. Does it have a conclusion?
Yeah. It ends with the robot is from a race of other robots like him, and they defeat them, and or they make friends with him, and they make peace with him, which was kind of a cool science fiction-y ending. It wasn't like Pew War. They just made peace with them, and at the end, Will Robinson and the robot take one of the Jupiters out to explore space.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
DBB asked in the chat, is that a Mexican Iron Man medallion? Yes, it is, right?
Yeah.
Very, very cool, says DBB. Mexican Iron Man is a cool dude. Yes, I do agree, DBB.
Yeah,
I abstained from voting because I haven't seen it yet, says DBB. And Lemon Pie says, I'm the same, not into horror, but I still check out the review streams. Well, I appreciate that. DBB says, sorry for yet another typo. Oh, you're fine, DBB. We all do that, especially on our telephone or our phones.
Yeah.
I can't believe I said
just use the AI dictation, so it just doesn't get the context. It gives you the wrong shit all the time. But just
the autocorrect.
And it always makes sense.
Right, the autocorrect, everybody's best friend. Don't we all love it?
Yeah, just read it phonetically. It always makes sense. No problem.
Right. DBB says, I like horror movies with humor. Other than that, I tend to avoid them. And DBB says, I would love to binge watch all the classic Hammer horror films, though. Oh, yeah. Hammer horror, that's like the meat and potatoes of horror.
Amityville?
Hammer horror.
Oh,
Hammer is a British studio that made a lot of horror in the 40s, 50s. Well, they even still exist now. They're making a couple movies, but they're really known for their classic horror from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah, I need to get into those. There's so much. And that's why I don't watch anything new. Like, I won't watch anything until I know the whole series is over and it's okay.
Yeah, same here, right? That's why I avoided Ring of Thrones or whatever that is. I wait till it's over, and then I tell the fans, okay, did it end on a high note? Because then I'll watch it. Oh, no. last season it went off the cliff, and I'll say, okay, good, and I spared myself the heartache.
Yeah, you're 6 seasons in. You get the sunk cost fallacy. So you watch 2 seasons that are just absolute garbage, and now you're just pissed off about the last 7 years of your life.
Right, all that year for what?
Yep. I mean, was it Game of Thrones did it? The Sopranos did it.
Lost.
Lost. Oh,
Yes,
Lost,
exactly
yeah.
right.
Lost was appropriately named.
Well,
It was
J.J.
Lost.
Abrams once again, yeah, that's Abrams, and that's the show that got him all these jobs in Hollywood. Talk about failing upwards.
what they should have called it was Clueless, the show. But you know what? And there's too much old classic television and old classic movies out there that I haven't seen for me to bother with anything of this new garbage.
There is.
That's why
There's a whole lifetime's worth.
Yeah, and that's why I'm loving this show and Jill's show and even your Gilligan's Island show, which I didn't get to catch too many of them, but there's so much old stuff that's just better. You can still talk about it.
We can still talk because it didn't have that horrible agenda in mind, the agenda that we all know of, right?
Yeah. So I'm not wasting my time with this new crowd. There's plenty of old things that are still good. But you know what? One thing I got into again was I got into the Rockford Files again.
James Garner.
And Columbo. I'll
Yes.
throw those on and watch them all day long.
I just rewatched Columbo last year. Right? Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. Just one more question, sir.
Just one more question. But I love Columbo because every episode started with we get to see the killer, we get to see the way everything is all set up. Then the whole episode is about how Columbo breaks the case. And it's the only show that did that. I love it. It's my favorite for that.
Did you guys see the Shatner ones?
Oh yeah, was there 2 or 3? Wasn't there?
He was a villain in 2. And you know what's funny? There's one of them where Walter Koenig has a cameo, and it's literally one freaking line.
Was he a police officer? I think maybe or no?
Yeah, he's a cop or a detective assistant or something, but he has one line, and I'm like, oh, they screwed him over.
Oh, yeah, Koenig always got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
So true. There are endless classic movies and shows to watch this DBB. So why waste time with modern trash fire garbage? And Lemon Pie says, I like Columbo too. Yeah, the one where Shatner as an actor is good.
Yeah, he really sells the elitist actor thing. He overplays
right. He does. And William Shatner, you can't go wrong with him, right? Never a bad performance. Always over the top, but never a bad performance.
My dad got to drive him a little bit. My dad was a driver in the movie. He was a Teamster, so he drove for TV shows and movies and stuff. And he worked on Ally McBeal for all 6 seasons. And then they had him cross over and worked on Boston Legal a little bit because it's still the same David Kelly Productions. And they borrowed my dad for a few days to drive something, and he got to drive Shatner around for a day.
Were his orders to not ask questions or talk to or interact with the? Oh, cool!
No,
that's great.
My dad was an old timer. They didn't tell him that kind of crap. He didn't.
Okay.
He never got struck with him, so he was just driving around, and he goes, "Hey, my son's a big fan," and he goes, "Oh, thank you." But he said he was a pleasant enough guy, but he said he was very professional. Like every time he's driving, he was reading his scripts and remembering his lines, and he's like a very dedicated professional actor.
I am not surprised. Yeah, he comes from the school of acting where they actually bother to learn their lines instead of having a cue card or teleprompter there on the set like Johnny Depp and so many of the modern ones.
Yeah, he even said during rehearsals, other actors would forget their lines, and Shatner was feeding them. He was like, "Oh, this is your." Yeah, he was like, "Oh, your line is this." Like he knew everyone's lines.
Yep, exactly. They don't bother that these days. All they care about is their paychecks and looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool story, Sean, says DBB. DBB appreciates that.
I got a cool one about Henry Winkler.
Oh, cool. The Fonz for us old folks.
So my dad had to drive him around one day. I forget what the show was. So the whole day he was just Henry Winkler just had all these errands to do. He's like, "Can you take me here? Can you take me there?" And like, sure, I'm just getting
Oh yeah, absolutely.
wherever you want to go. So,
hey, you're the Fonz.
yeah. So at the end, and this was like I think around 1982 or something. So it wasn't that long after Happy Days.
Right, it was right after Happy Days went off the air.
Yeah, it was off the air. It was some other show they were doing, and so my dad takes him home, and it was late, 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and he lets Henry Winkler out, and Henry Winkler takes out $100 bill, and he goes, "Here you go," and my dad's like, "Don't, I'm just doing my job." He's like, take it, Glenn, take it," and my dad's just refusing, right? So Henry Winkler's like, "Fine," so he gets out the door. And he goes, wait, hold on. And my dad rolled the window down, and Henry Winkler had crumpled the $100 bill up into a ball and threw it at my dad. And he goes, "Ha, you got it now." And then he ran into his house.
I always thought he seemed like a nice man.
Yeah, my dad said he was one of the kindest people he'd ever met.
I'm not surprised. I think he went into producing a lot of stuff after Happy Days.
Yeah, and he did a bunch of little tiny roles and things. But yeah, he loved working with him. He said he was one of the kindest, sweetest men that he's ever met. And he met all kinds of. So
that is exciting. What a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, Scogli. Scogli says, "Not sure what happened. My phone just glitched out, but oh well. It was last night. You guys have a good night. Cheers. Good night, Scogli."
So here's a little sample.
Cheers, Scogli.
Oh, there you go. So that's not a cop magnet. No.
No, this is from the movie Clueless.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that movie with Alicia Silverstone?
Yes.
So there's a guy the black guy in that show that ended up in Scrubs. Remember him? I forget the actor's name.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so hit the car in the movie he's driving. This is the license plate from that car.
Wow, that is sweet.
Yeah, so my dad took it. It was because it's a prop because it's just too many spaces here.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So he just took it. So this was a stupid movie with Jeff Speakman. It was like a kung fu-y type of movie called The Perfect Weapon.
Gotcha.
Then there's Clueless.
Oh, very cool.
And this was Brady Bunch movie.
I was a fan of the Brady Bunch show and the movies.
And then Beverly Hills 90210. And then Ally McBeal. And the reason I have these are the like when a crew member is working on a movie, they put these in their windshield.
Oh, okay.
So
I see in the parking lot, right?
Yeah. So like if you're on location, you're driving up to the set, they see that, and the security guy just waves you through. He's like, "Okay, you're with the show." So those I showed you because those were all things I was in as an extra.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have a lot more stories that you'll be sharing with us in the future, I hope.
Not too many. I got the. I just did it. It was in the summertime, and I was young, and my dad's like, "You want to come be an extra?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, I would be like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely."
Yeah, I'll make $50. But the thing is, like, they would always call us to go be in the shot, and I just wanted to go and hang out with my dad and his cousin, and hang out with the crew. So I was always hiding. I didn't want to be in any shots. But the crew was more fun to hang out with.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah. And thank you for sharing all that with us, Sean. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep you up all late and start blabbing.
No, you did not. No, you were fantastic. Thank you. And You're always welcome here anytime to share your stuff with us.
Oh, great. Cool. Well, that's why I want to watch some more horror movies so I can contribute.
Well, we're talking about maybe doing Death Race 2000 next week. So if that's the one we choose, I do a poll and I'll be letting everyone vote at the end of this week. So it'll give you a little advance heads up on what we'll be watching next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys, I got to go to bed here. Pop, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yes, Gorilla. Thank you for staying up with us.
Yeah.
Bye, Gorilla.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Have a great night.
Oh,
DBB says...
broadcast not leave the studio.
DBB says popcorn, and DBB says, you've been an extra? That's cool. Absolutely. I think so, too. It is. My brother did that a little bit, and he moved down to LA, and he was like a walk-on character, like in the background on several TV shows and movies. And it sounded like fun. He shared the stories with us.
Yeah, it is. It is fun. You make a few bucks here and there. You get to see how movies are made and do some neat things. But there's a lot of extras that they think they're going to make it big, and they're already acting like they're like, well, I did this movie and I did that movie and I was like, no, the movie did you. You made $50 on the day and you sat around at the craft service table.
Yeah, there's a channel that I watch that I'm sub to on YouTube. A really good. He's an older guy, feature man. And he did a lot of background stuff, and he talks about it. And he talks about every now and then, if you're lucky, the star will come up and actually start talking to you. And he said there's a lot of nice people out there.
Yeah, when I was lucky enough to be on 90210 with that, and a few of those stars talked to me, except for Shannon Doherty. But Ian Ziering and a couple other people, they're nice folks.
Well, if they don't talk to you, then that means you're not missing anything. You'd probably rather not talk to them if they had that kind of attitude anyway.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, on Clueless, I went to go on the set, and my cousin Randy, who's still alive, he was the transportation captain, and he goes, "Hey, Sean, watch this." And I go, "What?" And then he goes and he knocks on Alicia Silverstone's trailer door. And she comes out and she goes, "Randy!" and came and jumped on him, like hooked her legs around him and gave him this big hug. And he was looking at me while she was doing this and doing like, yeah, like, you punk ass.
Well, I don't blame him.
Oh, she was gorgeous. Oh, man, that girl was pretty.
You're right. And she sounds like she was very nice, very friendly, I guess.
Yeah, she still is, but she's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
DVB says I was an extra in the movie Highway.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna close this out if that's okay with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you all of everybody in the chat. Thank you everybody on the panel, especially you, Sean. You really shared a lot with us tonight. You're the highlight of the evening.
Thank you. So, and don't spill the beans to Mike about the thing I showed you.
No, just make him promise that we get an unboxing video, and I'll be there to watch it.
Yeah, I hope he does.
All right, then. So, is there anything you guys would like to share before I close this out?
Can't think of anything really. I think we pretty well covered it all.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. It was so fun. And PvP, you and I will get together and get your stream up and running here within the next few days.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Thanks, Pop.
All right. Thank you, Nemesis of Eden also, and Sean Carter, and everybody in the chat. I mean, you guys are really true good friends. And very rare these days to find people like you. So if you're wherever you're at, if it's cold or raining, drive safe, stay warm, and peace.